The force binds all things across the galaxy, connecting every living being in an invisible web of energy and destiny. But what happens when something arrives that the force cannot touch? What happens when rage-made flesh crashes into a galaxy at war? What happens when the unstoppable meets the immovable, and both discover that neither can yield? The Battle of Christophilis had raged for 3 standard days. Republic forces, led by Jedi Generals Anakin Skywalker and Obi-Wan Kenobi, fought desperately to break the Separatist blockade surrounding the crystalline world. Clone troopers in white armor exchanged fire with endless waves of B-1 battle droids, their formations clashing amid the planet's distinctive geometric crystal formations that refracted blaster fire into prismatic displays of violence. Above the planet, Venator-class star destroyers traded turbolaser salvos with Separatist frigates, the void between them filled with starfighters locked in deadly ballet. It was brutal, grinding warfare, the kind that had become sickeningly normal across 1,000 systems as the Clone Wars consumed the galaxy. Then the sky broke. Not metaphorically. The actual sky tore open. A rift appeared above the battlefield, a wound in reality itself, crackling with energy that registered on every sensor as impossible readings. Purple-green radiation that didn't match any known spectrum. Spatial distortions that bent light into nauseating angles. And an energy signature so powerful that it overloaded Republic and Separatist sensors simultaneously. What in the name of? Anakin's words died as something emerged from the rift. A figure. Massive, muscular, and colored an impossible vibrant green that stood out against Christophilis's pale crystal landscape like a wound. It fell from the dimensional breach, tumbling through 3,000 meters of atmosphere, trailing gamma radiation that ionized the air around it. The impact shook the entire battlefield. Where the figure struck ground, a crater formed, 50 meters across, 10 meters deep, the crystal formations shattering into glittering fragments that reflected the settling dust in 1,000 colors. The shockwave knocked clone troopers and battle droids off their feet, sent AT walkers rocking on their legs, and caused both armies to cease fire in stunned confusion. For 3 seconds, silence. Then movement in the crater. A hand, enormous, green, corded with muscle that defied anatomical logic, gripped the crater's edge. Another hand joined it. And slowly, impossibly, the figure pulled itself upward. The Hulk emerged into the Star Wars galaxy. He stood 3 meters tall, his body a monument to rage and gamma-irradiated biology. Green skin stretched over muscles that seemed to have been sculpted by a mad artist who believed bigger was always better. Purple pants, shredded at the hems but somehow still intact, provided the only coverage. His face was brutish, all heavy brows and clenched jaw, but his eyes held something beyond simple animal fury. Intelligence. Consciousness. An overwhelming, primal rage. The Hulk's chest heaved with breaths that sounded like thunder. His fists clenched and unclenched, each movement producing audible pops from joints that bore impossible stress. He looked around at the crystalline battlefield, at the soldiers in white and the mechanical droids, at the ships above and the smoke of war surrounding him. And he roared. The sound was primal, beyond language, a vocalization of pure fury that shook crystal formations and triggered avalanches in distant mountains. Every clone trooper felt it in their bones. Every battle droid's audio receptors screamed overload warnings. Anakin and Obi-Wan, force-sensitive and attuned to living emotions, felt the rage wash over them like physical force. By the Force, Obi-Wan breathed, his hand instinctively moving to his lightsaber. "What is that thing?" "I don't know," Anakin replied, his own hand gripping his weapon. "But I can feel it through the Force. It's alive. Sentient. And absolutely furious." In the Separatist Command Center 3 kilometers away, tactical droid TX-20 analyzed the new arrival with mechanical efficiency. Unknown biological entity. Energy signature, anomalous. Threat assessment, calculating. Error. Threat level exceeds combat database parameters. Recommendation, immediate elimination. Is it a Republic weapon? General Worm Loathsome demanded, the Kirkoiden commander's multiple chins quivering with agitation. Some kind of biological experiment? Classification uncertain, TX-20 replied. However, entity emerged from dimensional anomaly near Republic lines. Tactical assessment suggests 87.3% probability of Republic affiliation. Recommendation stands, eliminate threat. Then deploy everything, Loathsome ordered. I want that creature destroyed before it can be used against us. The Separatist forces repositioned with mechanical precision. Spider droids scuttled into firing positions. AAT tanks rotated their turrets toward the crater. Super battle droids formed firing lines. And above, vulture droid starfighters dove from their patrol patterns, weapons locked on the massive green target that stood alone in the crater. Hulk watched them come. He didn't understand the technology, didn't recognize the species or machines, couldn't parse the tactical situation beyond the most basic reality. They were pointing weapons at him. They wanted to hurt him. The first blaster bolt struck Hulk's chest, a super battle droid's heavy weapon, capable of punching through clone trooper armor with ease. The coherent energy impacted Hulk's skin and dissipated. The bolt's energy splashed across his chest like water on stone, leaving not even a scorch mark on the green flesh. Hulk looked down at where the shot hit. Then he looked up at the droids who'd fired. His expression shifted. Rage, already simmering, ignited into inferno. Hulk smash. He moved with speed that defied his massive size. One leap carried him 50 meters, clearing the crater's edge and landing among the first line of battle droids. His fist came down on IB-1's head, and the droid didn't just break, it exploded into fragments that scattered across 10 meters. His other hand swept 3 droids aside like toys, sending them tumbling through the air to crash into their fellows. A super battle droid opened fire at point-blank range, its wrist-mounted weapons hammering Hulk's torso with sustained fire. Hulk grabbed the droid with both hands and simply tore it in half, the durasteel frame screaming as it separated. He threw the pieces at an approaching spider droid, the improvised projectile striking with enough force to collapse one of the walker's legs. All units, concentrate fire. TX-20's voice crackled across Separatist comms. Target the creature. Maximum firepower. The battlefield erupted with energy weapons fire. Dozens of battle droids, spider walkers, AAT tanks, and aerial droid gunships all focused on Hulk simultaneously. Green, red, and blue blaster bolts converged on his position in a storm of coherent light that should have vaporized any biological target. Hulk roared again, this time not in fury alone but in pain. The sheer volume of fire, while not penetrating his skin, generated heat and kinetic impact that even his durability registered. Burns appeared on his arms where he raised them to protect his face. The sustained barrage drove him back 1 step, then 2. And with each step backward, he grew angrier. With each increase in anger, he grew stronger. Hulk's muscles visibly swelled, his already massive frame expanding as rage fueled his gamma-irradiated biology beyond normal limits. The burns on his arms healed in seconds, his regenerative factor working overtime. His eyes blazed with fury that transcended rational thought. He clapped his hands together. The thunderclap technique, a shockwave generated by Hulk slamming his palms together with superhuman force, hit the Separatist forces like a physical wall. The pressure wave flattened battle droids, overturned AAT tanks, and sent vulture droids spiraling out of control. Crystal formations shattered into glittering dust. The sound was deafening, a boom that echoed across the entire battlefield. Then Hulk charged. What followed wasn't a battle. It was a massacre. Hulk tore through the Separatist forces with methodical, terrifying efficiency. Each punch destroyed droids completely. Each leap crushed everything beneath his landing. When an AAT tank tried to retreat, Hulk grabbed its rear section and simply lifted the 60-ton vehicle overhead, then threw it at a spider droid 300 meters away. Both exploded on impact. Clone troopers watched from their positions with mixture of awe and terror. Commander Cody lowered his binoculars, his voice flat with disbelief. "General Skywalker, are you seeing this?" "I see it," Anakin confirmed, his force senses reeling from the emotional tsunami emanating from Hulk. "But I don't believe it. That thing just destroyed an entire Separatist division by itself." "Should we help it?" a clone trooper asked hesitantly. "Help it?" Obi-Wan stroked his beard, his tactical mind racing. "I'm not certain it needs help. More pressingly, I'm not certain it's on our side." As if to punctuate that observation, Hulk finished demolishing the last battle droid, ripping it apart with his bare hands, and turned toward the Republic lines. His chest heaved, gamma radiation pulsing from his body in waves that made nearby equipment flicker. He studied the white-armored soldiers, the Jedi in their robes, the Republic war machines. And he remembered, weapons. Soldiers. They all hurt. They all make angry. Hulk took one thunderous step toward the Republic forces. "Defensive positions." Cody ordered immediately. "All units, prepare to stand down." Anakin's command cut through the calm chatter. "Everyone hold fire. Do not attack." "General." Cody's confusion was evident. "It attacked the Separatists because they attacked it first," Anakin explained rapidly, his force senses providing insight his military training confirmed. "If we open fire, we'll just trigger the same response. Whatever that creature is, it's not thinking strategically, it's reacting to threats." Obi-Wan nodded slowly. "So we don't threaten it." "We, what, precisely?" "Invite it for tea." "We try to communicate," Anakin stated, already moving toward the massive green figure. "Come on." Anakin, wait, but Obi-Wan's protest came too late. His former Padawan was already walking across the crystal-strewn battlefield toward a 3-meter-tall rage monster that had just destroyed an army. Typical. Obi-Wan sighed, activated his lightsaber as a precaution, and followed. Hulk watched the two humans approach. They were small, everyone was small compared to Hulk, but they carried themselves differently than the others. Confidence without aggression. Caution without fear. And something else, something Hulk's primitive awareness couldn't quite identify but Banner's buried consciousness recognized immediately. The Force. They were Jedi. And deep inside the Hulk, trapped behind walls of rage and gamma radiation, Dr. Bruce Banner screamed silently for them to run. If you want to see more characters enter the Star Wars galaxy, hit that subscribe button and drop the name of a character you'd want to see in the comments below. May the Force be with you. Anakin Skywalker and Obi-Wan Kenobi approached the Hulk with the measured caution of Jedi who'd faced Sith Lords, droid armies, and monsters across 1,000 worlds. Yet something about this massive green creature set their instincts screaming in ways even Dooku's dark side presence hadn't. "Anakin," Obi-Wan murmured, his blue lightsaber held in a non-threatening but ready position. "I'm detecting something very unusual through the Force. This being, it's almost like there are two consciousnesses. One overwhelmingly dominant, the other buried deep." "I feel it too," Anakin confirmed, his own weapon ignited. "The surface is all rage and pain. But underneath, there's fear. Intelligence. Someone trapped." His eyes narrowed. "This isn't just a monster. This is someone's tragedy." Hulk's massive head tilted as he watched the two Jedi approach. The glowing energy blades they carried registered as weapons, threat, but they hadn't attacked. Hadn't fired. Just walking. Talking. Hulk's breathing slowed fractionally, though his fists remained clenched. "Hello there," Obi-Wan called out, his tone carefully diplomatic despite the absurdity of the situation. "I am Jedi Master Obi-Wan Kenobi. This is Jedi Knight Anakin Skywalker. We represent the Galactic Republic. Can you understand us?" Hulk's response was a low growl that vibrated through the crystal formations. "I'll take that as uncertain," Obi-Wan muttered to Anakin. Perhaps you should try. You've always had a gift for connecting with those who communicate through violence. Anakin stepped forward, deliberately deactivating his lightsaber and holstering it, a gesture of peace. We don't want to fight you. Those droids attacked you first, and you defended yourself. We understand that. But we need to know, are you sentient? Can you think? Can you communicate? For a moment, nothing. Then Hulk's brutish features twisted with concentration that seemed almost painful. His jaw worked, attempting to form words that his rage-addled mind struggled to access. Hulk, the creature rumbled, his voice like grinding stones. A.M. Hulk. Obi-Wan's eyebrows rose. Hulk. That's your name? Hulk. The confirmation came with a roar that sent both Jedi bracing against the sonic impact. But it wasn't aggressive, more like frustration at being unable to articulate complex thoughts. Hulk, not monster. Hulk is. The massive green figure's face contorted with an expression that transcended rage into something heartbreaking, confusion. Pain. The desperate need to communicate something crucial but lacking the cognitive capability while in this form. Deep in Hulk's mind, Dr. Bruce Banner fought with everything he had left. The dimensional transit had traumatized him on a fundamental level, the exotic radiation, the impossible physics, the sheer terror of being ripped from his universe, and that trauma kept the transformation locked. But he was still there. Still aware. Still screaming into the void that was Hulk's primitive consciousness. Tell them, Banner's thoughts hammered against the walls of rage. Tell them I'm trapped. Tell them I need help. Tell them, Hulk's eyes suddenly focused with alarming clarity. His pupils dilated. His breathing pattern changed. And when he spoke again, the voice carried different cadence, educated, desperate, human. Help me. Please. I'm trapped. Can't control. Name is Bruce. Bruce Banner. Doctor. Scientist. This isn't me. This is accident. Gamma radiation. I need help. Then the moment shattered. Hulk's eyes unfocused, rage flooding back as Banner's brief surface contact exhausted what little control he'd managed. The creature stumbled backward, roaring in frustration at his own mind's betrayal. Anakin and Obi-Wan exchanged shocked glances. Did you hear that? Anakin demanded. There's someone in there. A person. This Bruce Banner, he's trapped inside that body. A medical condition? Obi-Wan suggested. Some form of psychosis or split personality disorder induced by this gamma radiation he mentioned. Or something far worse, Anakin countered, his Force senses probing deeper. Master, when I touch his consciousness through the Force, I feel two distinct beings. The creature, Hulk, is all instinct and emotion. But Banner, the scientist, he's fully aware. He's watching everything Hulk does but can't stop it. It's like being a prisoner in your own body. Obi-Wan's expression darkened with understanding and sympathy. That's horrific. No wonder the poor man is terrified. Their conversation was interrupted by Hulk's massive fist slamming into the ground between them, not an attack, but an expression of overwhelming frustration. The impact cratered crystal beneath his hand, cracks radiating outward for 10 meters. Hulk. Hate this. The creature's voice carried anguish beneath the fury. Hate, being trapped. Hate, not knowing where Hulk is. Want. You want to go home, Anakin finished gently. You don't know how you got here, and you want to go back. Hulk's eyes met Anakin's, and for just a moment, the Jedi saw beyond the rage to the desperate soul trapped within. A nod, barely perceptible, but confirmation nonetheless. Before the moment could extend, proximity alarms screamed. 3 Republic gunships approached from the north, their weapons trained on Hulk's position. Commander Cody's voice crackled over Anakin's comlink, "General Skywalker, fall back. We're engaging the hostile." "No." Anakin shouted into the comm, "Stand down. Do not fire. I repeat, do not." The gunships opened fire. Ball turret lasers and missile pods unleashed their payloads at the green giant who demonstrated the capability to destroy entire military divisions. It was sound tactical thinking, eliminate the threat before it could turn on Republic forces. It was also the worst possible decision. Hulk's head snapped toward the incoming fire. The rage that had been momentarily suppressed by Banner's brief control returned with volcanic intensity. Energy bolts and missiles struck his body, and while they didn't penetrate his skin, they hurt. They burned. They threatened. They made Hulk angrier. Rah! Hulk's roar wasn't frustration now, it was pure, unrestrained fury. His muscles visibly swelled, his body mass increasing as anger fueled his gamma-irradiated biology. He crouched, then leaped with force that shattered the crystal platform beneath him. The leap carried Hulk 300 meters vertically and half a kilometer laterally. He arced through Christophilis' atmosphere like a living missile, his trajectory calculated by instinct rather than thought. The lead gunship's pilot had exactly 1 second to register the massive green figure flying toward them before Hulk crashed into the ship's hull. His fists tore through the durasteel plating like it was paper. He ripped the gunship's engines from their mounting, the machinery screaming as it separated from power couplings. The craft listed, spinning out of control, its pilot fighting desperately to maintain altitude while Hulk tore the ship apart from the outside. "Mayday, mayday," the pilot transmitted. "Hostile is on our hull. I can't shake him. We're going down. Eject." Cody ordered. "All craft, eject immediately." But Hulk wasn't trying to kill the crew, he was destroying the thing that had hurt him. As the pilot and gunners ejected via emergency pods, Hulk rode the gunship down like a bronco, his fists hammering into every system, every weapon, every piece of technology that represented threat. The gunship crashed into a crystal formation 2 kilometers from the original battlefield. The impact created an explosion that lit up the twilight sky, shockwaves shattering nearby crystals into glittering rain. Hulk emerged from the wreckage. Chest heaving, fists still clenched, looking for the next threat. The remaining 2 gunships wisely retreated. Anakin and Obi-Wan watched the destruction with mounting concern. Obi-Wan stroked his beard thoughtfully. "Well, we've learned something valuable, attacking it makes it stronger and angrier. Perhaps we should inform the clones not to repeat that particular tactical error." "This is going to be a problem," Anakin said flatly. "A big, green, incredibly strong problem. Whatever this Banner did to himself with gamma radiation, he created something that doesn't respond to force abilities, can't be reasoned with when threatened, and gets more dangerous the more we try to fight it." "Then we don't fight it," Obi-Wan replied. "We help it. If Dr. Banner is truly trapped inside that creature's consciousness, perhaps Jedi healing techniques could reach him. Restore his control. Allow him to transform back to his original form. That would require getting close enough to attempt force healing without triggering another rampage," Anakin pointed out. "And I'm not certain Banner can control the transformation even if we do reach him. This seems like a permanent condition." Their debate was interrupted by Hulk's return. He didn't leap or charge, he walked, each footstep a small seismic event that sent vibrations through the crystal ground. He stopped 10 meters away, studying the 2 Jedi with an expression that mixed suspicion, desperation, and bone-deep exhaustion. "Soldiers, always attack Hulk," the creature rumbled, his voice carrying resignation beneath the anger. "Everywhere Hulk goes. Always fighting. Always hurting. Hulk, tired." The admission struck both Jedi profoundly. This wasn't mindless monster, this was a being who'd endured so much violence that it had become his normal existence. A being who expected attack and responded preemptively because experience taught him that mercy was rare. "We won't attack you," Obi-Wan promised, his voice carrying Jedi sincerity. But we need your help, Hulk. And you need ours. You're lost, displaced from wherever you came from. We can help you find a way home, but only if you can control your strength. Can Banner hear us? Can he try to resurface? Hulk's expression twisted with concentration. His fists clenched so hard that gamma radiation crackled visibly around them. His muscles trembled with effort that had nothing to do with physical strength and everything to do with internal battle between personalities. Banner, weak, Hulk growled. Banner, always weak. Always scared. Always, running. But Banner, also smart. Banner, knows things. If he... The transformation didn't complete, but for 30 seconds, the two consciousnesses achieved something like equilibrium. Hulk's brutish features gained intelligence, his eyes focusing with scientific precision. When he spoke, the voice was layered, Hulk's rumble with Banner's educated articulation beneath. We need to understand what happened. The dimensional breach. The gamma resonance. If I can analyze the energy signature from my arrival point, I might be able to replicate the conditions for return transit. But I'll need equipment. Scientific instruments. Access to your technology databases. We can provide that, Anakin said immediately. The Republic has research facilities, scientists who... No. Hulk's rage surged back, the momentary balance shattered by fear. Labs, scientists, experiments. Always experiments. Always poking, cutting, testing. Hulk remembers. Banner remembers. No more labs. He turned and leaped away, a single bound carrying him several kilometers toward Christophilis's uninhabited regions. The crystal formations shook from his passage, the sound of his departure like distant thunder. Obi-Wan sighed. Well, that could have gone worse. Could it have? Anakin challenged. We've got a nearly indestructible being with the strength to tear apart capital ships who's terrified of laboratories and loses control whenever threatened. And he's stuck in our galaxy with no way home. Then we'd best inform the Council, Obi-Wan decided. This is considerably above our operational authority. Master Yoda will want to know that a new player has entered the war, one that can't be killed, can't be controlled, and quite possibly can't be helped. As the two Jedi returned to their forces, neither noticed the small probe droid hovering in the crystal canopy above. Its sensors had recorded everything, Hulk's arrival, his rampage, his brief coherence, and most importantly, his incredible power. The recording transmitted to a Separatist command ship in orbit, where Count Dooku watched with dark fascination. A being impervious to blaster fire, stronger than any droid, and fueled by rage that made him more powerful. The potential was extraordinary. TX-20, Dooku addressed the tactical droid. Cease all offensive operations against the green creature. In fact, I want him, agitated. Attacked. Made angrier. And then, carefully, I want him pointed toward Coruscant. The Jedi Temple, my lord. Dooku's smile was cold. Precisely. Let us see how the Jedi Council handles a monster that their Force abilities cannot stop. And if the creature destroys their precious temple in the process? Well, that's simply a fortunate consequence of warfare. The plan was elegant, ruthless, and perfectly Sith in its exploitation of tragedy. Hulk wasn't a person to Dooku, he was a weapon. And weapons existed to be aimed at one's enemies. In the crystal wilderness, Hulk sat alone, his massive form hunched in exhaustion and despair. Inside, Banner wept. He was trapped in another universe, locked in a body he couldn't control, forced to watch himself destroy everything he touched. It was his nightmare made manifest. And he had no idea if escape was even possible. The Jedi Temple on Coruscant rose like a monument to peace and wisdom, 5 towering spires reaching toward the sky, its halls filled with millennia of accumulated knowledge and the presence of the galaxy's most powerful Force users. It had stood for generations as a symbol of order, justice, and the light side's triumph over darkness. It was also about to face something it was utterly unprepared for. The Jedi Council convened an emergency session, the circular chamber filled with masters both present and holographic. Master Yoda sat in contemplative silence, his ancient eyes focused on the holoprojection showing Hulk's rampage on Christophilis. The recording played through multiple angles, probe droids, clone helmet cams, gunship sensors, all capturing the same impossible reality, a being that defied everything the Jedi understood about physical limits and force sensitivity. Most disturbing, this is, Yoda stated, his ears drooping slightly. A creature of pure rage, yet sentient. Powerful beyond measure, yet trapped by his own nature. Feel his suffering through the Force, I can. Both the monster's fury and the man's anguish. Mace Windu leaned forward, his expression grave. General Skywalker's report indicates the being, this Dr. Banner, was displaced here through some kind of dimensional accident involving gamma radiation. He's not from our galaxy, possibly not from our dimension entirely. Can we help him return home? Plo Koon asked, his masked face turning toward the tactical display. Surely the Republic's scientific resources could analyze the energy signature from his arrival and attempt to replicate. He won't cooperate, Obi-Wan's hologram interjected. The moment we mentioned laboratories or scientific facilities, he fled. Banner's trauma runs deep, apparently he's been experimented on before, possibly by his own civilization's military. The trust simply isn't there. Ki-Adi-Mundi's tall cranium tilted thoughtfully. Then we face a dilemma. A being of catastrophic power who cannot be contained, cannot be calmed, and cannot be helped because he fears the very assistance we'd offer. What do the ethics of the Jedi Code demand in such circumstances? That we protect him, Shakti said firmly. He's a victim, not a perpetrator. His condition was inflicted upon him, not chosen. The Jedi exist to defend those who cannot defend themselves, including from their own afflictions. Even if his affliction threatens entire planets. Mace challenged. I watched the recordings. When angered, his strength increases without apparent limit. Left unchecked, he could destroy cities, devastate worlds, kill billions. At what point does protecting one being become negligence toward trillions? The philosophical debate continued, voices rising with passion as Jedi Masters wrestled with impossible questions. But Yoda remained silent, his connection to the Force reaching out across the vast distance to Christophilis, seeking the dual consciousness that was Banner and Hulk. What he found disturbed him profoundly. The rage was a maelstrom, primal, consuming, endless. It generated such emotional turbulence that even approaching it through the Force felt dangerous. But beneath that storm, Yoda detected something that made his ancient heart ache, a brilliant mind screaming silently, fully aware of every destructive act, unable to stop the monster that wore his flesh. A prison, his own body is, Yoda murmured. Worse than any cell. Imagine, aware of all you do, control of none you have. To watch yourself destroy, harm, terrify, and powerless to stop. This torture, no being deserves. The council chamber fell silent. Even the most hardline voices couldn't argue with that assessment. Then what do we do? Anakin's hologram asked. Because right now, Hulk is hiding in Christophilis' wilderness, and both Republic and Separatist forces are terrified of him. It's only a matter of time before someone decides he's too dangerous to leave alone. As if to punctuate that concern, alarms blared throughout the temple. A communications officer's voice crackled over the emergency frequency. Council chamber, this is temple security. We're detecting a massive energy signature approaching Coruscant at impossible velocity. Trajectory suggests ballistic arrival, something was launched or threw itself from planetary orbit toward the capital. Mace Windu's hand moved immediately to his lightsaber. Source. Unknown, Master Windu. But the energy readings match recordings from Christophilis. It's the green creature. Somehow, it's here. The council erupted in controlled chaos, masters rising from their seats, holographic participants shouting questions, and Yoda's expression darkening with understanding. Manipulated, he was, the Grand Master stated with certainty. Pushed, prodded, made angry enough to leap across star systems. Someone pointed this weapon at us deliberately. Dooku, Anakin snarled. It has his fingerprints all over it. Push Hulk's rage to critical levels, aim him at the temple, and watch while we're forced to either fight him or evacuate. There's no time for debate, Obi-Wan's hologram interjected. If Hulk impacts Coruscant at orbital velocity, the crater alone will kill thousands. We need to intercept him before landfall, slow his descent, redirect his trajectory toward uninhabited sectors. And how precisely do we stop a falling meteor that happens to be alive and angry? Mace demanded. Yoda thumped his Jimmer stick. The Force, we must use. All of us, together. Reach out to him through the Force, slow his descent, and most importantly, speak to Banner. Remind the man inside that harming innocents serves no purpose. That his rage hurts only those who wish to help. It was an ambitious plan. The Force could move starfighters, manipulate objects, even influence minds. But slowing a 3-meter-tall, several-ton creature falling from orbit? That would require the combined power of the strongest Jedi Masters on Coruscant. And they had approximately 4 minutes before impact. Hulk fell through space with the trajectory of an artillery shell. He didn't know where he was going, didn't care. The Separatist forces on Christophilis had attacked again, bombarding his hiding place with artillery until his rage transcended reason. He'd leaped without thought, his superhuman strength propelling him beyond the planet's gravity well. Now he plummeted toward Coruscant, the galactic capital expanding below him like a circuit board of lights. Atmospheric friction heated his skin, but his durability rendered it meaningless. Wind screamed past his ears. The world rushed up to meet him. And inside, Bruce Banner screamed. No. Not the city. There are billions of people. Hulk, please, you have to stop. You'll kill them. Hulk, please. But the monster couldn't hear. The rage was too consuming, the fury too absolute. Hulk knew only one truth, hurt them before they hurt you. Destroy before you're destroyed. Then something impossible happened. Hulk's descent slowed. Not dramatically, he was still falling at terminal velocity, but his acceleration ceased. Something resisted his momentum, an invisible force that felt like swimming through increasingly thick liquid. Hulk roared in confusion and fury, his arms flailing, trying to push through the resistance. Through the Force, 24 Jedi Masters reached out as one, their combined will creating a telekinetic cushion beneath the falling giant. It was like trying to catch a starship with their minds, the strain was immense, pushing Masters to their absolute limits. Several collapsed immediately, their strength insufficient. Others held on through sheer determination. And Yoda, the most powerful of them all, reached deeper still. Not to stop Hulk's body, but to touch his mind. Dr. Banner, Yoda's telepathic voice was gentle, compassionate, carrying 900 years of wisdom. Help us, you must. Fight the rage. Take control. Innocent people below, harm them, you will, unless the descent you slow, Banner felt the contact like a lifeline thrown to a drowning man. A voice. Communication. Someone trying to reach him instead of just attacking. I can't. Banner's consciousness screamed back through whatever medium connected them. I can't control him when he's this angry. The transformation is locked. I'm trying, but I'm not strong enough. Alone, perhaps not, Yoda agreed. Together, stronger we are. My strength, combine with yours. Your knowledge of the creature, my mastery of the Force. Calm him, we can. But trust me, you must. It was an insane gambit. Banner had never successfully controlled Hulk through outside assistance, the monster was too primal, too resistant to external influence. But what choice did he have? In 30 seconds, Hulk would crater into Coruscant's surface and kill thousands. Do it, Banner agreed. Yoda's presence in the Force intensified, his consciousness flowing through the connection he'd established with Banner. It was delicate work. Yoda had to touch Hulk's mind without triggering defensive rage, support Banner without overwhelming his already fragile consciousness, and somehow convince a creature of pure emotion that calm was preferable to fury. Hulk, Yoda's voice carried through the rage storm, in danger, you are not. Below, people who wish to help. No weapons, no attacks, only hands reaching to slow your fall. Trust them. Trust Banner. Angry, you need not be, asterisk. Hulk's primitive consciousness registered the words with confusion. No anger. But anger was strength. Anger was protection. Without anger, Hulk was weak. Not weak, Banner's voice joined Yoda's, the two consciousness combining in strange harmony. Strong. Hulk is so strong. But strength isn't just rage. Strength is also control. Choice. You can choose not to hurt people, Hulk. You can choose to land safely. For a fraction of a second, Hulk's rage wavered. The descent slowed further, not just from Jedi telekinesis now, but from Hulk himself resisting the fall, his body's instinctive survival mechanisms overriding blind fury. His feet hit a Coruscant landing platform at 500 meters altitude. The impact still cratered Durasteel, shockwaves radiating outward, but it wasn't the catastrophic orbital strike it would have been. Hulk stumbled, his massive form lurching forward, then caught himself. The Jedi Masters collapsed their telekinetic effort, 24 Force users gasping from exertion. Several required immediate medical attention. But they'd succeeded, Coruscant was saved. And Hulk stood in the Temple District, surrounded by towering buildings filled with millions of citizens, his chest heaving with confused, directionless rage. That, Mace Windu observed from the Temple spire, may have only delayed the inevitable. He's here, he's angry, and we're in the most densely populated square kilometer of the galaxy. Then we'd best make certain the inevitable doesn't include massacre, Obi-Wan replied, already moving toward the turbolift. Anakin, with me. We're going down there. Are you insane? Mace demanded. Frequently, Obi-Wan admitted. But consider the alternative, we stay here while Hulk rampages through civilian sectors because he feels threatened. Or we go down there, speak to Banner, and attempt to guide him somewhere he can't hurt anyone. I prefer the latter, as suicidal as it may appear. Anakin was already in the turbolift, his hand hovering over the descent controls. You coming, Master? Obi-Wan sighed. I suppose someone must ensure you don't get yourself killed attempting to befriend an unstoppable rage monster. Again. As the two Jedi descended, Yoda remained in the council chamber, his connection to Hulk and Banner still active through the Force. He could feel Banner's consciousness struggling desperately for dominance, feel Hulk's confusion at being asked to choose calm over rage, feel the precarious balance that could shatter at any moment. Help him, we must, Yoda murmured to himself. But how to help one whose very nature is violence? How to heal a wound that is itself the person? Outside, on the landing platform, Hulk stood alone. His fists clenched and unclenched. His eyes darted between buildings, searching for threats. Every instinct screamed that attack was imminent, that he needed to strike first, that rage was the only survival strategy. But a small voice in the back of his mind, Banner's voice, strengthened temporarily by Yoda's support, whispered something different. You don't have to fight. Not everyone is your enemy. Some people want to help. Please, Hulk. Just this once. Trust them. Hulk's brutish features twisted with the effort of internal conflict. Rage versus reason. Instinct versus choice. The monster versus the man. Which would win? The galaxy held its breath to find out. The landing platform where Hulk stood was normally a bustling commercial hub, cargo transports, civilian speeders, delivery droids, but it had cleared in seconds when the massive green figure had cratered its surface. Now it was a no-man's land, cordoned off by Coruscant security forces who kept a very safe distance while their officers debated what level of firepower would even be relevant. Anakin and Obi-Wan emerged from a ground-level entrance 50 meters from Hulk's position. The creature tracked their movement immediately, his body tensing into combat readiness. But he didn't attack, not yet. He watched, waited, his primitive tactical mind assessing whether these two represented immediate threat. "Easy," Obi-Wan murmured, his hands visible and empty, lightsaber holstered. "We're not here to fight, Hulk. We're here to help." "Help?" Hulk's rumble carried skepticism that transcended his limited vocabulary. "Always say help. Then hurt. Always hurt." "I know," Anakin said, taking a careful step forward. "I know people have hurt you. Experimented on you. Used you as a weapon. Dr. Banner remembers, and it terrifies him. But we're not those people. We're Jedi, we protect, we don't harm." Hulk's eyes narrowed. "Jedi, use magic. Force. Feel it," trying to touch Hulk's mind. "Make Hulk calm. Is trick. Is control." "It's not control," Obi-Wan corrected gently. "Master Yoda reached out to Dr. Banner to help him communicate with you. To help you understand you didn't need to crash into the city. We saved lives together, Hulk, you, Banner, and the Jedi. That's what cooperation looks like." The massive green figure's expression showed confusion, his limited cognitive processing struggling with concepts beyond simple threat assessment. Inside, Banner seized the moment of Hulk's uncertainty. "They're right," Banner's consciousness pushed through the rage barriers with every ounce of will he possessed. "Hulk, please listen. These people aren't military. They're not trying to weaponize us. They're trying to help us get home. But we have to give them a chance. We have to try." Hulk's fists unclenched fractionally. His breathing slowed. And when he spoke again, his voice carried two distinct tones, Hulk's rumble and Banner's educated articulation underneath. "Banner wants to trust. Banner says. Jedi not like generals, not like Ross, not like experiments." The creature's face twisted with effort. "But Hulk remembers. Remembers always being hunted. Always being weapon. Hard to trust when trust always means pain." Anakin felt his heart twist with recognition. He'd been a slave once, used as property, his trust betrayed by those who should have protected him. He understood, perhaps better than most Jedi, what it meant to be treated as a thing rather than a person. "I know what it's like," Anakin said quietly, taking another step forward. "To be seen as a weapon instead of a person. To have power that makes people afraid, that makes them want to control you or destroy you. The fear never really goes away, does it? You're always waiting for the next betrayal." Hulk's eyes locked onto Anakin's, and for a moment, the monster saw past the Jedi robes to the human beneath, someone who understood suffering not as abstract concept but as lived experience. "You know." Hulk's voice was almost vulnerable, a quality that seemed impossible from a 3-meter-tall rage monster. "I know," Anakin confirmed. "And I'm telling you, not everyone is an enemy. Some people see your strength and don't want to exploit it. They just want to help you carry it. Let us be those people, Hulk. Let Banner work with our scientists to find a way home. You don't have to be alone in this." For 5 seconds, it seemed like the appeal might work. Hulk's posture relaxed incrementally, his defensive stance softening. Banner's consciousness surged forward, hope flooding through both aspects of their dual existence. Then the Coruscant security force made a catastrophic mistake. A young officer, terrified and undertrained, saw the massive green creature standing near 2 Jedi and made an assumption: the Jedi were in danger. His training said protect Jedi at all costs. His fear said eliminate the threat immediately. He fired his blaster rifle. The bolt struck Hulk's shoulder, a glancing hit that did no damage, barely registered as pain. But the psychological impact was devastating. Another attack. Another betrayal. Another confirmation that trust was weakness. The rage that had been momentarily suppressed returned like a tidal wave. No. Banner's scream was both internal and vocalized through Hulk's throat. Not again. Please, not again. But Hulk was already moving. He grabbed a cargo container, 20 tons of durasteel and contents, and hurled it toward the security forces with casual, terrifying ease. The container flew like a missile, crushing speeders and forcing officers to scatter. Hulk's roar shook nearby buildings, windows shattering from sonic impact alone. Stand down. Obi-Wan shouted into his comlink. All forces, cease fire immediately. You're making it worse. But the damage was done. Hulk's trust, so painfully earned over minutes of careful negotiation, had shattered in an instant. His eyes blazed with betrayal and fury as he turned toward Anakin and Obi-Wan, no longer seeing allies, only more threats. Hulk. Smash. He charged. Anakin barely ignited his lightsaber in time, the blue blade intercepting Hulk's fist in a move that should have severed limbs from any biological opponent. The blade struck Hulk's skin and stopped. The plasma edge sizzled against green flesh, generating heat and light, but couldn't penetrate. Hulk's gamma-irradiated cellular structure was too dense, too resilient. The kinetic impact, however, sent Anakin flying 20 meters to crash into a parked speeder. His force-enhanced durability saved him from serious injury, but the wind was knocked from his lungs and his lightsaber clattered away. Obi-Wan ignited his own blade, adopting Sorisu defensive form, his specialty, designed for prolonged defense against overwhelming attacks. Hulk, stop. We're not your enemy. That officer was a fool, but he doesn't represent. Hulk's backhand swipe forced Obi-Wan to leap backward, his Jedi agility the only thing saving him from being pulverized. The shockwave from Hulk's missed strike cratered the platform further, durasteel buckling like foil. This isn't working. Anakin shouted, recovering his lightsaber and rejoining the fight. He's too far gone. We need to contain him before he reaches civilian sectors. Contain him how? Obi-Wan demanded, deflecting Hulk's grab with a force push that barely budged the massive creature. Our lightsabers can't cut him, our force abilities can't move him, and making him angrier only makes him stronger. We're fighting an opponent with no win condition. Hulk grabbed the edge of the platform and simply tore a section free, 30 tons of reinforced durasteel ripped from its foundations like cardboard. He swung it like a club, the improvised weapon forcing both Jedi to scatter as it demolished everything in its path. Through the chaos, Yoda's telepathic voice touched their minds, flee, you must. Lead him from civilians. To the industrial sector, guide him. Evacuated it will be. There, contain him we can without endangering innocents. Retreat. Obi-Wan ordered, already moving. Anakin, we're leading him away from population centers. They ran, using force-enhanced speed to stay ahead of Hulk's thunderous pursuit. The monster followed, his rage-addled mind focused entirely on the two who'd betrayed his tentative trust. Behind them, Coruscant security scrambled to evacuate civilians from the projected path, emergency alerts blaring across entire city districts. The chase led through Coruscant's levels, from the gleaming upper platforms down into industrial zones where factories and processing plants operated with minimal organic staff. Hulk smashed through walls, ripped through traffic lanes, and left destruction in his wake that would cost billions of credits to repair. But the alternative, a rampage through residential districts, would have cost billions of lives. Anakin and Obi-Wan reached the designated containment zone, a massive power distribution facility, all durasteel and transformer arrays, currently evacuated per Yoda's coordination. They turned to face their pursuer, lightsabers ready despite knowing the blade's limited effectiveness. Hulk emerged through a wall, not bothering with doors, his chest heaving, his eyes blazing with betrayed fury. Gamma radiation visibly pulsed around his form, his anger having elevated his power to levels beyond even his baseline impossibility. Lied, Hulk growled, his voice thick with hurt beneath the rage. Said, wouldn't hurt. Said, help. Lied. Everyone lies. Everyone hurts. We didn't lie. Anakin protested desperately. That officer was wrong, he acted alone. We're still trying to help. No help. Hulk roared. Only hurt. Only experiments. Only making Hulk weapon. No more. Hulk smash everyone. Smash until alone. Alone is safe. He charged again, and this time, neither Jedi could evade completely. Obi-Wan was clipped by Hulk's shoulder, the impact sending him crashing through two walls to land in a tangle of damaged machinery. Anakin tried a force choke, a dark side technique he'd experimented with, but Hulk's physiology resisted, the creature's dense musculature and altered biology making even compressed airways irrelevant for the seconds it took him to breathe. The fight devolved into pure survival. The two Jedi used every technique in their arsenal, force pushes, lightsaber strikes, environmental manipulation, but nothing truly harmed Hulk. They weren't fighting an enemy they could defeat. They were fighting a hurricane, trying to survive its passage. And inside the hurricane, Dr. Bruce Banner wept. This is my fault, his consciousness screamed into the void of Hulk's rage. All of this. The destruction, the fear, the pain. I created this monster. I am this monster. And I can't stop it. Can't control it. Can't even die to end it because Hulk won't let me. Everyone I touch, I hurt. Everything I build, I destroy. I'm a weapon. Just a weapon. And weapons don't deserve help. They deserve to be locked away where they can't hurt anyone. I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. But apologies meant nothing to the innocent beings fleeing Hulk's rampage. Meant nothing to the Jedi risking their lives. Meant nothing to the galaxy that had to suffer his presence. Dr. Bruce Banner was the most brilliant mind of his generation, a man who'd revolutionized gamma physics and nuclear science. And he was absolutely, completely helpless to stop the monster wearing his face. The tragedy wasn't just the destruction. It was the awareness, being conscious prisoner to every terrible act, knowing exactly how much harm you caused while remaining powerless to prevent it. If hell existed, this was its truest form. Count Dooku watched the chaos unfold on Coruscant through holoprojections transmitted from Separatist spy satellites in orbit. His elegant features showed satisfaction as the Hulk tore through the industrial sector, two Jedi desperately trying to contain what clearly could not be contained. The plan was working even better than anticipated. Magnificent, Dooku murmured, his cultured voice carrying dark amusement. A weapon that cannot be stopped, cannot be killed, and grows stronger the more they resist. The Jedi face an opponent their precious force cannot defeat. Poetic, really. General Grievous stood beside him, the cyborg's mechanical body clicking with each breath. The creature is powerful, but undisciplined. Mindless. How does this serve our strategic objectives? Because, my dear General, the Republic must now dedicate enormous resources to containing this threat. Resources diverted from the war effort. And more importantly, Dooku's smile was cold, the creature has exposed a fundamental weakness in Jedi philosophy. They preach peace and protection, yet they cannot protect Coruscant from a single being. Their inadequacy will breed doubt among Republic citizens. And if the creature turns on our forces? Grievous challenged. Then we ensure he's always pointed toward Republic targets, Dooku replied smoothly. The beauty of a mindless weapon is its predictability. Attack it, and it attacks back. Simply ensure our attacks come from directions that make the creature believe Jedi or Republic forces are responsible. His fingers steepled thoughtfully. In fact, I believe it's time to escalate. Deploy Terror-class battle droids to Coruscant. Have them engage the creature using tactics that appear Jedi-coordinated. Sabers, force-mimicking technology, Republic IFF signatures. You would frame the Jedi for attacking the very monster they're trying to contain. Grievous' vocabulary carried something like appreciation. Devious. I prefer strategically elegant, Dooku corrected. Now, execute the plan. And ensure our droids record everything. The galaxy must see the Jedi's failure in exquisite detail. On Coruscant, the battle raged with increasing desperation. Anakin and Obi-Wan had been joined by reinforcements, Jedi Knights Aayla Secura and Kit Fisto, both powerful combatants in their own right. But even 4 Jedi working in perfect coordination couldn't truly harm Hulk, only delay and redirect his rampage. This is unsustainable. Aayla shouted over the din of destruction, her blue lightsaber deflecting debris Hulk had hurled. We've been fighting for 20 minutes and he's only getting stronger. Where's our exit strategy? Exit strategy assumes there's somewhere safe to retreat to. Anakin replied, using force push to topple a support column onto Hulk, who simply shattered it with a punch and kept coming. The moment we disengage, he'll rampage through whatever's behind us. Kit Fisto, ever calm even in crisis, observed Hulk's pattern. He's not fighting tactically. Pure emotion. Rage and pain. Whatever intelligence exists in there is completely buried under survival instinct. Banner's still conscious, Obi-Wan confirmed, his connection to the Force detecting the buried human consciousness. I can feel his anguish. He's aware of everything Hulk does but powerless to stop it. The poor man is experiencing his own nightmare in real time. Their coordination was interrupted by new arrivals, but not reinforcements. 24 droids descended from above, their design unlike standard Separatist battle droids. These were sleeker, faster, and equipped with energy blade weapons that glowed with blue light remarkably similar to lightsabers. What in the... Anakin's confusion turned to alarm as the droids immediately engaged Hulk, their lightsabers striking his invulnerable hide while transmitting Republic military identification codes. Those are Separatist infiltrators. They're trying to make Hulk think we sent them. But the damage was done. Hulk's primitive tactical awareness registered, energy swords like the Jedi carried, Republic IFF signals, coordinated attack. His rage, already volcanic, found new focus. The Jedi had betrayed him again. Sent machines to hurt him. Proof that trust was weakness. Jedi sent machines. Hulk roared, his fury transcending previous levels. His body visibly swelled, muscles expanding as anger fueled impossible biological changes. Hulk smash Jedi. Smash all who lie. He tore through the terror droids like they were made of paper, his strength having escalated to levels that made even hardened Jedi Masters step backward involuntarily. Then he turned that apocalyptic fury toward the 4 Jedi, and for the first time, they felt genuine fear that they might not survive the next minute. Hulk's thunderclap shockwaves sent all 4 Jedi flying, their force defenses barely softening impacts that cracked ribs and dislocated joints. Before they could recover, Hulk was among them, his massive hands reaching for Anakin with clear intent to kill. Then something unexpected happened. A voice, not transmitted through comms, not spoken aloud, but projected directly into every mind in the vicinity through the Force, cut through the chaos with absolute authority. Enough. Master Yoda appeared, though appeared was insufficient description. The ancient Jedi Master didn't walk or arrive via transport. He simply was, his presence in the Force so profound that even Hulk's rage-addled consciousness registered it as something beyond normal threat parameters. Yoda stood at his full height, which barely reached a human's waist, but his presence filled the entire industrial sector. His Jimmer stick rested in both hands, his eyes closed in concentration, and around him the Force swirled with visible intensity that made the air shimmer. Hulk, Yoda spoke aloud, his voice gentle despite the power radiating from his small frame. Listen, you must. Manipulated, you have been. Those droids, not sent by Jedi. Sent by our enemies, to make you hate us. Victims of deception, both you and we are. Hulk's charge slowed, not stopped, but hesitant. Something about this small green creature was different from other Jedi. No fear. No aggression. Just sadness. Compassion. Understanding. Feel your pain, I do, Yoda continued, his telepathic presence touching the edges of Hulk's consciousness without invading. Trapped in body not your own. Controlled by rage you cannot stop. Hurt everyone you touch. Know this suffering, I do. Lived 900 years, I have. Seen countless beings struggle with power they cannot control. Inside Hulk's mind, Banner felt Yoda's presence like warm sunlight after endless darkness. Hope, fragile, tentative, but real, sparked for the first time since his dimensional displacement. Please, Banner's consciousness reached toward Yoda desperately. Help me. I can't control him. I can't stop the destruction. I'm trying, but I'm not strong enough alone. Please, help me. Alone, perhaps not, Yoda agreed, his mental voice touching Banner's buried consciousness. Together, different story it is. But understand you must, control of Hulk, not through force. Control comes from acceptance. From making peace with the rage, not fighting it. I can't accept this. Banner's anguish poured through the connection. This monster, these powers, they're a curse. Everything I've ever cared about, Hulk has destroyed. How can I accept something that ruins everything it touches? Because the alternative, Yoda replied with profound gentleness, is remaining prisoner forever. Fighting the rage feeds it. Hating Hulk strengthens him. Only through acceptance, acknowledging that rage is part of you, not separate from you, can balance be found. It was a concept Banner had never truly considered. Every scientist, every psychologist, every military handler had treated Hulk as something to be eliminated, controlled, weaponized, but never accepted. The idea that peace came not from destroying the monster but from acknowledging it as part of himself. I'm afraid, Banner admitted. Afraid that accepting Hulk means losing myself entirely. That Bruce Banner will cease to exist, consumed by the rage. Fear this, many do, Yoda acknowledged. But consider, fight Hulk, and both of you suffer. Accept Hulk, and perhaps both can exist. Not separate, not opposed, but unified. One being, with all the strength and all the intelligence. This, the path to peace is. Outside the mental conversation, Hulk had stopped his charge entirely. He stood 5 meters from Yoda, his massive chest heaving, his fists clenched but not raised to strike. Confusion warred with rage on his brutish features. Hulk, not understand, the creature rumbled. Small one, not scared. Not attacking. Not trying to hurt Hulk. Why? Because hurt you more, would accomplish nothing, Yoda replied simply. Strong you are, yes. Perhaps strongest being this galaxy has seen. But strength without purpose is merely destruction. And destruction without end is merely tragedy. He opened his eyes, meeting Hulk's gaze with ancient wisdom that had counseled generations of Jedi. A question, I have for you, Hulk. What do you want? Not what Banner wants. What does Hulk want? The question seemed to short-circuit Hulk's rage entirely. No one had ever asked him, the monster, not the man, what he desired. Soldiers attacked him. Scientists studied him. Even Banner tried to suppress him. But no one had ever simply asked. Hulk's expression twisted with effort to articulate feelings beyond rage. Hulk wants, not to hurt. Wants to be strong. But strong without destroying. Wants. His voice dropped to almost a whisper. Wants to be good. The admission hung in the air, vulnerable and profound. The unstoppable rage monster wanted to be good. Wanted to be more than destruction. Wanted purpose beyond violence. Inside, Banner felt tears streaming down a face that didn't physically exist in this shared consciousness. Hulk wants to be good. After everything, all the destruction, all the fear, he just wants to be good. How did I never see that? Because see what we expect to see, we do, Yoda replied gently. Expected monster, you did. So monster is what you saw. But Hulk is not monster. Hulk is, child. Powerful, yes. Dangerous, yes. But child nonetheless. And children need guidance, not imprisonment. Yoda addressed Hulk directly again, good, you can be. But requires something difficult. Requires trusting Banner. Working together. Not fighting inside one body, but cooperating. Can you do this? Hulk's massive head nodded slowly, uncertain but willing. Hulk, try. For small green wise one. For Banner. Hulk, try to be good. Then try, we shall, Yoda confirmed. All of us, together. Around them, the 4 battered Jedi slowly rose, their injuries superficial despite the brutal combat. They watched in awe as Yoda, through nothing but compassion and wisdom, accomplished what force and combat could not, reaching the soul within the monster. But the moment of peace was shattered by proximity alarms. More Separatist droids were inbound, this time an entire battle group, all broadcasting Republic IFF codes, all designed to appear as if the Jedi had called in massive military response to destroy Hulk. They're not going to stop, Anakin realized with cold fury. Dooku's going to keep sending droids disguised as Republic forces until Hulk's rage becomes uncontrollable. He's weaponizing Hulk's trauma. Then remove Hulk from the targeting equation, we must, Yoda decided. To orbit, take him we will. Where droids cannot follow. Where time to heal, he may have. It was an audacious plan, take a being of unstoppable rage into space, away from everything and everyone, giving Banner time to integrate with Hulk under Yoda's guidance. But audacious was what the situation demanded. The question was, would Hulk cooperate? Or would the approaching droid army shatter this fragile moment of connection? Getting Hulk to orbit required convincing a creature whose primary survival mechanism was, smash everything, to voluntarily board a spacecraft and leave the planet. It was, by any reasonable assessment, an insane proposition. But the Jedi Council had learned that reasonable assessments didn't apply to gamma-irradiated rage monsters from other dimensions. Hulk, Yoda said calmly, even as sensor alerts warned of incoming Separatist forces, into space, we must go. Away from fighting. Away from those who wish to use you as weapon. A place of quiet, where you and Banner can speak without rage drowning out reason. Hulk's brutish features showed suspicion. Space. Like, where Hulk fell from. Dark place. No air. Hulk not need air for long time, Banner's consciousness interjected, his voice surfacing with Yoda's support. We've survived vacuum exposure before, remember the Chitauri invasion? We were fine. And Yoda's right. We need distance from everything that triggers the rage. Please, Hulk. Trust him. The massive green figure looked down at the ancient Jedi Master, then at the approaching wave of enemy droids cresting the distant buildings like a mechanical tide. Every instinct screamed to fight, to smash, to destroy the threats before they could hurt him. But the small green one had been kind. Had listened. Had asked what Hulk wanted instead of just attacking. Okay, Hulk rumbled. Hulk, go to space. But if try to hurt Hulk in space, Hulk will be very, very angry. No tricks, Yoda promised. Only help. Come. A Republic gunship descended, its pilot wisely keeping the weapons systems offline and visible. Hulk eyed the craft suspiciously, his gamma-irradiated mind recognizing it as similar to the ships that had attacked him on Christophilis. But Yoda walked toward it without hesitation, his ancient calm radiating trust. Hulk followed. The gunship's interior was cramped with Hulk aboard, his massive frame filled most of the passenger compartment, forcing the Jedi to squeeze into corners. The pilot, a clone trooper named Hawk, kept his eyes rigidly forward and his hands steady on the controls despite the fact that a living weapon of mass destruction sat 3 meters behind him. "Taking us to Republic Cruiser Resolute," Hawk reported, his voice admirably controlled. "ETA 4 minutes. Admiral Yularen has been informed of our passenger." "Informed and terrified, I imagine," Obi-Wan muttered, nursing cracked ribs from Hulk's earlier attack. "Can't blame him. I'm terrified and I'm sitting right next to it, him. Right next to him." Hulk's ears, surprisingly acute despite their simplified appearance, caught the comment. "Jedi man, scared of Hulk." "Terrified," Obi-Wan admitted honestly. "You nearly killed me twice in the past hour." Fear seems appropriate. But, still helping Hulk. The creature's confusion was almost childlike. Still taking to safe place. Even though scared. "That's what being brave means," Obi-Wan explained gently. "Acting despite fear, not without it. You scare me, Hulk. But you also need help. And Jedi don't abandon beings who need help just because it's frightening to provide it." Inside Hulk's mind, Banner absorbed that lesson with profound impact. How many times had he let fear control him? Fear of the Hulk, fear of losing control, fear of what he might do. His fear had driven him into isolation, into running, into treating Hulk as enemy rather than, what? Part of himself. A separate consciousness sharing his body. The philosophical implications made Banner's scientific mind ache. But Yoda's presence in their shared consciousness provided gentle guidance. "Fear and rage, two sides of same coin they are," Yoda's telepathic voice explained. "Banner fears Hulk. Hulk rages against those who fear him. Cycle that feeds itself, creating endless suffering. Break the cycle, you must. Acknowledge the fear, accept the rage, and find peace between them." The gunship broke atmosphere, Coruscant cityscape falling away to reveal the orbital traffic patterns and Republic fleet elements positioned around the capital. The Resolute, Anakin's flagship, hung in formation, a Venator-class star destroyer that looked like a dagger aimed at the void. Hulk pressed his face to the viewport, his primitive wonder showing through the rage-weathered exterior. "Big," he rumbled. "Space is big. Empty. Quiet. Peaceful, it can be," Yoda agreed. "Without people to hurt, without weapons to threaten, without rage to fuel. Here, in the quiet, perhaps clarity you may find." The gunship docked in the Resolute's main hangar, where Admiral Yularen had very sensibly ordered all non-essential personnel evacuated. Only a skeleton crew remained, and they maintained very healthy distances as Hulk emerged from the craft. Admiral Yularen himself stood on the command walkway, his military bearing ironclad despite the sweat beading on his forehead. "General Skywalker, Master Yoda. I've cleared the starboard observation deck as requested. It's spacious. Reinforced. And has emergency blast doors that can seal it off from the rest of the ship if necessary. Precautions sensible these are," Yoda acknowledged without offense. "But necessary, they will not be. Come, Hulk. Show you a view of the galaxy, I will." They made their way through the Resolute's corridors, a procession of one small Jedi Master, one massive green giant, and 4 battered Jedi Knights who served as escort. Crew members who couldn't evacuate pressed themselves against walls as Hulk passed, their fear palpable but disciplined. One clone trooper, however, didn't press himself against the wall. He stood at attention in the corridor's center, his helmet removed, his face, identical to millions of other clones, showing something besides fear. "Sir," the trooper addressed Hulk directly. "Wanted to say, we're glad you're getting help. Heard what happened down there. Heard you didn't want to fight, but they made you. We, clones, we know what that's like. Being weapons. Not having a choice. It's not right. Hope they can fix it for you, sir." Hulk stopped, studying the clone trooper with surprising focus. "You understand?" "Yes, sir. We're engineered. Made to fight. Whole purpose is war, even though some of us. The trooper's voice wavered slightly. Some of us wish we could choose something else. But orders are orders. Purpose is purpose. We do what we're made for. Hulk, made to be weapon too, Hulk said quietly. Gamma bomb. Banner tried to save person. Got too much radiation. Created Hulk. Weapon that not supposed to exist. That wishes could be something else. The clone trooper saluted. Then we're brothers in that, sir. Good luck. As they continued toward the observation deck, Banner's consciousness was reeling. The clone had understood. A soldier literally created for war had recognized their shared tragedy, being purpose-built for violence while yearning for something more. We're not alone, Banner realized. In any universe, there are beings created as weapons who want to be more. The clones, Hulk, even me. We're all fighting the purposes others assigned us. And some, Yoda added gently, succeed in becoming more. Find new purpose, new meaning, new identity beyond what creators intended. Hope, there is. Always. The observation deck was indeed spacious, a section of the Resolute's hull converted to viewing platform where crew could witness hyperspace transits or simply contemplate the void. Now it served as Hulk's temporary sanctuary, far from civilians, far from triggers, far from everything except stars and silence. Hulk pressed his massive hands against the transparent steel viewport, staring out at the galaxy stretching infinitely before him. Coruscant hung below, a city-planet glittering with trillions of lights. Beyond it, star systems numbered beyond counting, all existing in a galaxy that had no place for him. Banner, Hulk spoke, his voice carrying uncharacteristic vulnerability. Are we going to be stuck here? In galaxy not ours? With no way home? Inside their shared consciousness, Banner considered lying, offering false hope. But he'd lied to Hulk, fought him, suppressed him, tried to eliminate him, for years. Maybe honesty was what they both needed. I don't know, Banner admitted. The dimensional breach that brought us here, I can barely remember it through the transformation trauma. The energy signatures, the exotic particles, the quantum entanglement across dimensional barriers, theoretically, it could be replicated. But I'd need equipment I don't have, knowledge I don't possess, and time to research that we may not get. So, maybe stuck. Maybe stuck, Banner confirmed. But if we are, maybe that's not the worst thing. Back home, we were hunted constantly. Thunderbolt Ross, the military, SHIELD when they thought we were threats, always running, always hiding. Here, at least these Jedi seem willing to help rather than weaponize us. Hulk tired of running, the monster admitted. Tired of fighting. Tired of being angry all the time. If stuck here, can Hulk be not weapon? Can be, person? Before Banner could respond, Yoda's presence in their shared consciousness grew stronger, his telepathic voice addressing both aspects of their divided psyche simultaneously. A proposal, I have, the ancient Jedi stated. Remain aboard this ship, you will. In space, far from those who would provoke the rage. Time to heal, you will have. Time for Banner and Hulk to find balance. And time for me to teach what 900 years of wisdom about controlling powerful emotions has taught me. You'd teach us. Banner's consciousness brightened with hope. Help us integrate. Find a way for both Hulk and me to coexist without one destroying the other. This, I have done before, Yoda confirmed. Young Jedi, who fear their power, who rage against injustice, who struggle with darkness within, guide them, I do. More extreme, your case is. But principles remain same. Dark and light, rage and calm, monster and man, all are one. Pretending otherwise creates suffering. Accepting wholeness creates peace. Hulk's massive frame shuddered, emotion that transcended rage or anger moving through him. Hulk can, learn to be good. Learn to be strong without destroying. Small green wise one will teach. Teach you, I will, Yoda promised. But work, it will require. Discipline. Patience. Accepting that strength comes not from rage alone, but from control. From choice. From deciding when to smash and when to speak. Can you do this? For the first time since his arrival in the Star Wars galaxy, Hulk's expression showed something other than rage, confusion, or pain. It showed determination. Purpose. Hope. Hulk will try, the creature stated with conviction that shook the deck beneath him. For Banner. For clones who understand. For small green wise one who listens. Hulk will try to be good. Before Banner could respond, Yoda's presence in their shared consciousness grew stronger, his telepathic voice addressing both aspects of their divided psyche simultaneously. A proposal, I have, the ancient Jedi stated. Remain aboard this ship, you will. In space, far from those who would provoke the rage. Time to heal, you will have. Time for Banner and Hulk to find balance. And time for me to teach what 900 years of wisdom about controlling powerful emotions has taught me. You'd teach us. Banner's consciousness brightened with hope. Help us integrate. Find a way for both Hulk and me to coexist without one destroying the other. This, I have done before, Yoda confirmed. Young Jedi, who fear their power, who rage against injustice, who struggle with darkness within, guide them, I do. More extreme, your case is. But principles remain same. Dark and light, rage and calm, monster and man, all are one. Pretending otherwise creates suffering. Accepting wholeness creates peace. Hulk's massive frame shuddered, emotion that transcended rage or anger moving through him. Hulk can, learn to be good. Learn to be strong without destroying. Small green wise one will teach. Teach you, I will, Yoda promised. But work, it will require. Discipline. Patience. Accepting that strength comes not from rage alone, but from control. From choice. From deciding when to smash and when to speak. Can you do this? For the first time since his arrival in the Star Wars galaxy, Hulk's expression showed something other than rage, confusion, or pain. It showed determination. Purpose. Hope. Hulk will try, the creature stated with conviction that shook the deck beneath him. For Banner. For clones who understand. For small green wise one who listens. Hulk will try to be good. 3 weeks passed aboard the Resolute in what the crew privately called the strangest shore leave in Republic history. While the Clone Wars raged across 1,000 systems, a 3-meter-tall green rage monster received Jedi training in an observation deck converted into an impromptu meditation chamber. Yoda's approach was unconventional even by Jedi standards. He didn't treat Hulk as a student who needed to suppress his nature. Instead, he worked to help Banner and Hulk recognize they weren't two separate beings fighting for control, but one fragmented consciousness that needed integration. Meditation begins, Yoda announced one morning, settling into his customary position. Hulk sat cross-legged across from him, his massive frame looking ridiculous in the contemplative pose, but his expression showing genuine effort. Hulk not understand meditation, the creature grumbled. Sitting still makes Hulk itchy. Want to move. Want to do something. Precisely the challenge it is, Yoda replied. Rage demands action. Demands movement, violence, response. But strength also comes from stillness. From observing without reacting. From feeling anger without becoming anger. Inside their shared consciousness, Banner provided translation. He's teaching emotional regulation, Hulk. The idea that you can feel angry without having to act on it immediately. That there's space between stimulus and response where choice exists. But if Hulk not smash when angry, what Hulk do with anger? You observe it, Banner explained, his scientific mind finding unexpected common ground with Jedi philosophy. Acknowledge the emotion, understand its source, then decide consciously whether action is warranted. Right now, you react to everything instantly. Yoda's teaching you to pause. Close your eyes, Hulk must, Yoda instructed. Feel the ship around you. The hum of engines. The presence of crew members. The vastness of space beyond the hull. All connected through the Force. Even you, who lack midichlorians, connected you are. Through emotion, through existence itself. Hulk closed his eyes, his brutish face showing concentration. For 3 seconds, he managed stillness. Then his eyes snapped open. Hulk feels, people scared. Crew members walk different when near observation deck. Hearts beat faster. Fear Hulk. And this feeling, what does it make you want to do? Yoda asked gently. Makes Hulk. The creature paused, his limited vocabulary struggling with complex emotion. Makes Hulk, sad. Angry. Both? Want to prove not dangerous, but proving requires not being dangerous, but people scared makes Hulk upset, and upset makes dangerous, and... He growled in frustration. Is circle. Can't win. Ah, Yoda's ears perked up. Understanding, you have found. The cycle of rage and fear, each feeds the other. Break it, you cannot, through action alone. Break it, you must, through acceptance. Accept that people fear Hulk. Accept that fear is natural response to power, Yoda clarified. Accept that proving yourself safe requires time. Accept that Hulk's feelings about their fear are valid, but need not control your actions. Feel the sadness. Feel the frustration. Then choose response consciously, not reactively. Banner's consciousness stirred with recognition. That's what I've been doing wrong for years. I've been so terrified of your anger that I've fought it constantly, which made you angrier, which made me more terrified, the same cycle, just internalized. Banner, scared of Hulk. The revelation seemed to genuinely hurt the creature. Terrified, Banner admitted. But not of you, of what you represent. Loss of control. Destruction of everything I care about. The end of Bruce Banner as a person. I've been treating you like a disease to be cured rather than part of who I am. But if Banner accept Hulk, then Banner not try to make Hulk go away. Then we learn to coexist, Banner proposed. Not fighting for dominance. But sharing this existence. Your strength and my intelligence. Your courage and my caution. One person, not two. The internal dialogue was interrupted by proximity alarms throughout the ship. Admiral Yulleran's voice crackled over the intercom, General Skywalker to the bridge. We've detected a Separatist task force emerging from hyperspace. 3 frigates, multiple starfighter squadrons. They're transmitting a message. They want to negotiate for the creature. In the observation deck, Hulk's eyes opened with dangerous focus. Separatists? The ones with robot soldiers? The same, Yoda confirmed. Want to use you as weapon, they do. Trade you back to Republic, or more likely, capture you for their own purposes. Hulk's fists clenched, gamma radiation beginning to pulse visibly around his form. The 3 weeks of meditation and emotional regulation training warred with ingrained survival instincts. Threats meant fighting. Enemies meant smashing. But Yoda's voice, calm and certain, cut through the rising rage. Choice, you have. React as old Hulk would, rage, destroy, prove their fears correct. Or respond as new Hulk, acknowledge the anger, then choose wisely. The massive green figure trembled with effort, his muscles swelling slightly as anger fought discipline. His breathing accelerated. His gamma signature spiked on the ship's sensors, making the bridge crew nervous. Then, slowly, deliberately, Hulk forced himself to breathe deeply. Once. Twice. 3 times. Hulk, angry, he stated, his voice strained but controlled. Hulk want to smash robots that want to capture. Want to show them Hulk is not weapon. But, smashing is what they expect. What they want. They want Hulk to rampage so can point at Hulk and say, "Look, dangerous monster." Wisdom, this is, Yoda approved. See the manipulation, you do. Recognize the trap. So Hulk, not fight. The creature's confusion was evident. Just let them try to capture. Hulk stays here, Banner's consciousness interjected. Let the Jedi handle the Separatist fleet. If they try to board, then you defend the ship. But don't go out there looking for a fight. Don't give Dooku, I'm betting he's behind this, the satisfaction of seeing us lose control. On the bridge, Anakin studied the tactical display with growing suspicion. They're not attacking. Just, waiting. Transmitting demands for Hulk's transfer to proper containment, while holding position at weapons range. It's a provocation, Obi-Wan observed. They want Hulk to attack them. Probably recording everything to broadcast across the holonet as propaganda. Look at the unstoppable monster the Republic harbors, too dangerous for anyone's safety. Then we don't give them the satisfaction, Anakin decided. Maintain defensive posture. No aggressive actions. And someone check on Hulk, make sure he's not about to tear through the hull to get at them. Admiral Yularen dispatched a clone commando to the observation deck, where the soldier found an unexpected sight, Hulk sitting in meditation pose, his eyes closed, his breathing controlled, while Yoda sat across from him projecting calm through the Force. General Skywalker's compliments, Master Yoda, the commando reported. The Separatists are attempting provocation. Orders are to maintain defensive posture and not engage unless attacked. Relay to General Skywalker, Yoda replied without opening his eyes. Hulk will not be provoked. Control, he has found. Discipline, he practices. Proud of him, I am. The commando glanced at Hulk, who looked like a coiled spring of barely restrained destruction, and decided not to question the Jedi Master's assessment. Understood, sir. For 2 hours, the standoff continued. The Separatist fleet remained at distance, transmitting increasingly aggressive demands and threats. They deployed starfighters in obvious attack formations. They powered weapon systems. They did everything short of actually firing to try to trigger a response. And Hulk sat in meditation, his massive chest rising and falling with controlled breaths, feeling the anger but not becoming it. Inside the shared consciousness, Banner and Hulk maintained constant dialogue. They want us to attack, Banner reminded. Every threat, every provocation, it's psychological warfare designed to make you lose control. Hulk knows, the creature responded, his internal voice showing growth in articulation. Hulk, learning. Small green wise one right. Strength not just smashing. Strength also choosing not to smash. I'm proud of you, Banner admitted. I know this is hard. Your every instinct is screaming to leap out there and destroy those ships. But you're fighting that instinct. That's real courage. Banner proud of Hulk. The monster's surprise was palpable. Banner, always ashamed of Hulk before. I was wrong, Banner confessed. I treated you like a disease. Like something to be cured or eliminated. But you're not a disease, Hulk. You're the part of me that survived when survival should have been impossible. The part that fought back when everything said to quit. Your strength I refused to acknowledge because I was terrified of losing control. And now I'm trying to learn what you've been trying to teach me for years, that sometimes the smartest choice is to be strong. And sometimes the strongest choice is to be smart. Together, we can be both. The internal integration continued, facilitated by Yoda's presence in the Force. The ancient Jedi Master served as mediator, helping two aspects of one consciousness find common ground, establish boundaries, and most importantly, learn to trust each other. On the bridge, the Separatist fleet finally acknowledged defeat. Their provocation had failed spectacularly. Instead of getting footage of an unstoppable rage monster attacking Republic ships, they'd gotten 2 hours of nothing. No dramatic rampage. No proof of danger. Just a creature sitting quietly aboard a Republic vessel. "They're withdrawing," the tactical officer reported. "Entering hyperspace. Mission failure by any metric." Because Hulk chose peace over violence, Obi-Wan observed with satisfaction. "I'll admit, I didn't think it possible. 3 weeks ago, he was demolishing industrial sectors. Today, he resisted provocation that would have triggered his rampage before." Yoda's teachings are effective, Anakin agreed. But it raises a question: what do we do with Hulk long-term? He can't stay aboard the Resolute indefinitely. Eventually, we'll need to deploy to active combat zones. And bringing Hulk along creates impossible tactical variables, Obi-Wan finished. "I know. But what's the alternative? Return him to Coruscant where Dooku can continue manipulating him? Imprison him somewhere, which would betray the trust we've built?" The question hung unanswered. Hulk had made extraordinary progress, but integration was a journey, not a destination. One moment of emotional regulation didn't erase years of trauma and conditioned response. The next provocation, the next trigger, the next moment when Banner and Hulk disagreed about the threat level, any of those could shatter the fragile balance. In the observation deck, Yoda opened his eyes and regarded Hulk with satisfaction. "Proud of you, I am. Wisdom shown, discipline maintained, choice made consciously. Great progress, this is." Hulk's eyes opened, and for the first time since his arrival in the Star Wars galaxy, they showed something beyond rage or confusion. They showed peace, fragile, tentative, but genuine. "Hulk learning," the creature stated simply. "Still want to smash things sometimes. Still get angry. But now Hulk can choose. Can decide if smashing helps or just makes worse. And this," Yoda said with a smile, "is what it means to be truly strong. Not the power to destroy, but the wisdom to choose when destruction serves purpose and when it does not." But their moment of achievement was interrupted by emergency alerts throughout the ship. Not combat alarms, something different. Something worse. A massive energy signature had just appeared at the edge of the system. Not Separatist. Not Republic. Something that registered on sensors as fundamentally wrong: spatial distortions, exotic radiation, and a quantum signature that matched one thing in the Republic's recent records. The dimensional breach that had brought Hulk to this galaxy. It was opening again. And something was coming through. The dimensional breach tore reality like a wound reopening. On every sensor screen aboard the Resolute, the energy readings spiked into impossible ranges, exotic particles that shouldn't exist in normal spacetime, quantum entanglement patterns that suggested multiple universes touching, and at the center of it all, a massive object emerging from the rift with violent, catastrophic force. "What is that?" Admiral Yularen demanded, his military composure cracking as the tactical display struggled to classify the anomaly. "A ship," the sensors officer replied, his voice tight with disbelief. "At least. I think it's a ship. Configuration unknown, power signature off every scale, and it's pulling half a dozen other vessels through with it. They're all broadcasting Hulk's energy signature, gamma radiation identical to the creature's baseline readings." On the observation deck, Hulk's head snapped toward the viewport, his enhanced senses detecting something that made every hair on his massive body stand on end. "Banner, do you feel that?" Inside their shared consciousness, Banner's scientific mind raced through the sensor data Hulk's enhanced perceptions were feeding him. That radiation signature. The quantum entanglement pattern. "Hulk, that's gamma energy," Hulk finished aloud. "From home. From Earth." The vessels emerging from the breach resolved into recognizable configurations, to Hulk and Banner, at least. A shield helicarrier, heavily damaged and venting atmosphere. 2 Quinjet transports, their hulls scarred by weapons fire. And leading them, barely holding together through sheer technological stubbornness, a hulking vessel that Banner recognized with mixed horror and relief. A Stark Industries deep space ark, the kind Tony Stark had theoretically designed for worst-case evacuation scenarios. And painted across its hull in letters 10 meters tall, Banner Retrieval Mission. They came for us, Banner's consciousness whispered with awe. Earth sent a rescue mission across dimensional barriers to bring us home. But Hulk's enhanced hearing, capable of picking up electromagnetic transmissions when sufficiently amplified, caught something that made his expression darken with rage, the sounds of combat. Weapons fire. Screams. And a voice that both Banner and Hulk recognized instantly, filtered through mechanical amplification. Banner. I know you're out here somewhere. We've been tracking your gamma signature across dimensional coordinates for 3 weeks. And we're not leaving without you, even if I have to punch every alien in this backward galaxy to drag you home. Tony, Banner breathed. Iron Man. He actually did it. He found a way to track us across dimensions. The SHIELD helicarrier's engines were failing, its descent toward Coruscant's gravity well uncontrolled. The Quinjets were attempting to provide thrust assistance, but they were clearly designed for atmospheric flight, not deep space rescue operations. And the Stark Ark, while functional, was hemorrhaging drive plasma from a dozen breaches. They hadn't just found a way to reach the Star Wars galaxy. They'd fought their way here through whatever hostile force had tried to stop them. And now they were dying, falling toward a planet in a galaxy they didn't understand, in desperate need of help they didn't know how to request. Hulk stood, his massive frame radiating purpose. Banner. Friends need help. I know, Banner agreed. But we can't just leap out there. We'd decompress the observation deck, probably tear through the hull, and... General Yoda, Anakin's voice crackled over the intercom. We're receiving distress calls from the unknown vessels. They're Earth origin if I'm reading these language patterns correctly. And they're specifically asking for someone named Banner. They've come a very long way to find him. Yoda's eyes opened, his ancient gaze meeting Hulk's determined stare. Your people, they are. Risked much to reach you. Help them. You must. But controlled it must be. No rage, no destruction, precision and purpose. Hulk understands, the creature stated, moving toward the observation deck's emergency airlock. Hulk will save friends. We'll be gentle. We'll be good. Wait. Banner's consciousness interjected. We need a plan. The helicarrier is too massive for you to catch alone. The Quinjets need guidance to safe landing zones. And Tony, knowing him, is probably already flying out in his armor looking for us, which means he's going to run out of power in vacuum and suffocate unless someone intercepts him. Hulk paused at the airlock, his primitive tactical mind wrestling with the complexity. Too many problems. Hulk only one person. Can't save everyone. But we can coordinate. Obi-Wan's voice came through the intercom as the Jedi Master rushed toward the observation deck with Anakin close behind. Hulk, if you can reach the helicarrier and slow its descent, we can deploy tractor beams to stabilize it. The Republic has resources, we just need you to buy us time. The airlock cycled open, and Hulk stood at the threshold between ship and void. 3 weeks ago, he would have leaped without thought, trusting his rage-fueled instincts to handle whatever came next. But Yoda's training had taught him something crucial, strength without strategy was just flailing. What is tactical approach? Hulk asked, his improved speech showing 3 weeks of Banner integration. Hulk ready to help. Tell Hulk what friends need. Anakin arrived with a breath mask, laughably small for Hulk's face, but he tried anyway. The helicarrier first. It's got the most people aboard and it's falling fastest. Can you leap out there, match its descent vector, and use your strength to slow it down? Even a few seconds of deceleration would give us time to lock tractor beams. Hulk's eyes narrowed in calculation, Banner's intelligence filtering through Hulk's instinctive physics understanding. Hulk can do that. But we'll need trajectory calculation. Angle of approach. Can't just smash into ship, would break it. Need to grab carefully, push against fall without crushing hull. I can feed you navigation data through the Force, Yoda offered. Guide your leap, help you adjust mid-flight. Trust the Force, and trust Banner's calculations. Together, succeed you will. For a moment, Hulk hesitated. 3 weeks ago, the idea of trusting anyone, even Banner, would have been impossible. But integration meant acknowledging he didn't have to do everything alone. That accepting help wasn't weakness. Okay, Hulk stated. Hulk trusts small green wise one. Hulk trusts Banner. Hulk trusts friends. Let's save people. He jumped. Not a rage-fueled leap of destruction, but a calculated launch with specific trajectory and controlled force. Yoda's presence in the Force guided him, making minute adjustments to his arc that Hulk's body executed instinctively. Banner's consciousness provided physics calculations, compensating for the orbital mechanics and relative velocities. The shield helicarrier loomed before him, massive even by Star Wars standards, a flying fortress that had been designed to project military power across Earth's continents. Now it tumbled through alien space, its reactors failing, its crew desperately trying to evacuate before structural failure. Hulk matched velocity with the falling carrier, his body absorbing the relative kinetic energy through gamma-enhanced durability. He grabbed the carrier's superstructure, carefully, precisely, using only enough force to grip without crushing. Then he pushed upward with superhuman strength, his muscles swelling with effort, fighting the carrier's momentum. The descent slowed. Not stopped, that would require more strength than even Hulk possessed, but reduced from catastrophic impact to potentially survivable crash. Tractor beams engaging. Anakin's voice transmitted through equipment Hulk didn't understand but appreciated anyway. We've got a lock. Hulk, you can let go, we've got it from here. But Hulk didn't let go. Because his enhanced hearing detected something the Republic sensors had missed, the helicarrier's reactor was going critical. Without controlled shutdown, it would detonate, probably wouldn't kill Hulk, but would vaporize every human aboard and significantly damage the Republic ships trying to help. Reactor problem, Hulk transmitted, his voice carrying across open comm channels through sheer volume. Hulk smells radiation. Bad radiation. Explosion coming. Inside the helicarrier's engineering section, SHIELD technicians were indeed fighting a losing battle with cascade failure. The dimensional transit had damaged containment systems, the combat during escape had compromised cooling, and now the reactor was minutes from breach. A familiar voice crackled over the SHIELD frequencies, Banner, if you can hear this, we need someone who understands gamma physics to manually shut down this reactor. I'm smart, but nuclear engineering was your specialty, not mine. Little help here. Tony Stark. And he was right, Banner was probably the only person in 2 galaxies who could successfully emergency shut down a SHIELD helicarrier reactor while it was going critical. Hulk need to become Banner, the creature stated, his primitive consciousness understanding the necessity even if he didn't like it. Need smart Banner to fix reactor. But Hulk scared. If become Banner, might not come back. Might be stuck as weak Bruce forever. You won't be stuck, Banner's consciousness promised. We're integrated now. Not separate, not fighting, one being with 2 aspects. You let me forward to handle technical work, I'll let you return when strength is needed. It's called trust, Hulk. And trust goes both ways. Hulk took a deep, unnecessary breath, more psychological comfort than physical need. Okay. Hulk trusts Banner. Fix the reactor. Hulk will wait inside. We'll be ready if needed. The transformation was unlike any Banner had experienced before. Usually it was violent, clothes shredding, body expanding, consciousness drowning in rage. But this time, guided by 3 weeks of integration in Yoda's teachings, it was almost gentle. The green faded. The muscles reduced. The rage receded. And Dr. Bruce Banner stood on the hull of a shield helicarrier in hard vacuum, wearing shredded purple pants, held in place by Yoda's telekinetic assistance since he lacked Hulk's innate durability. That, Banner gasped into the emergency oxygen field Anakin was projecting through the Force, was the weirdest experience of my life. And I've turned into a giant green rage monster hundreds of times, so that's saying something. Radiation emergency first, existential crisis later, Obi-Wan reminded him. Can you fix the reactor? Banner's scientific mind, free from Hulk's limitations but still carrying their integrated understanding, assessed the situation with frightening speed. Yes. But I'll need to physically enter the reactor chamber. Radiation levels will be lethal, would kill anyone else in seconds. I'll have to trigger partial transformation to survive long enough for the fix. Hulk's durability without full rage state. It's theoretically possible with our new integration. Then do it, Anakin urged. We'll keep the tractor beams locked, but if that reactor goes, it's over for everyone aboard. Banner crawled across the helicarrier's hull toward the engineering access hatch, his human body pitifully weak compared to Hulk's might but his mind impossibly sharper. Inside their shared consciousness, Hulk's presence remained, not dominant, not suppressed, just there. Waiting. Trusting. Ready when you need me, Hulk's internal voice rumbled. Banner fix technical things. Hulk protect from radiation. Together, we save friends. Banner smiled despite the impossible circumstances. 3 weeks ago, that kind of cooperation would have been fantasy. Now it was survival strategy. He entered the reactor chamber, felt the radiation levels spike to lethal ranges, and consciously allowed Hulk's durability to manifest. His skin took on a slight green tint. His muscles enhanced enough to resist radiation damage. His healing factor accelerated to compensate for cellular degradation. Not the full Hulk. Not mindless rage. Just, the best of both, working in harmony. And deep in the Force, Yoda felt it and smiled. True balance, not suppressing one aspect for another, but integrating both into wholeness. It was what he'd been trying to teach Jedi for 9 centuries, and a rage monster from another dimension had achieved it in 3 weeks. Perhaps there was hope for everyone after all. Dr. Bruce Banner worked in the irradiated hell of the shield helicarrier's reactor chamber with hands that glowed faintly green, his partially transformed state allowing him to manipulate components that would have killed any unprotected human within seconds. Sweat poured down his face, still mostly human in appearance, though his musculature was noticeably enhanced and his skin carried that distinctive gamma-green tint. Coolant systems first, Banner muttered, his scientific mind racing through emergency protocols while Hulk's durability protected him. Bypass the damaged manifolds, reroute through secondary, no, tertiary lines. Primary and secondary are both compromised from dimensional transit. Inside their shared consciousness, Hulk's presence remained steady, not trying to take control, just providing biological support. Banner smart. Banner knows what to do. Hulk just keeps radiation from hurting. Thanks, Banner thought back, his hands already moving to the next critical system. I couldn't do this without you. Your healing factor is the only reason my cells aren't dissolving right now. The reactor's containment field was failing in 3 sections simultaneously, a cascade failure that would normally require a full engineering team and 6 hours to fix. Banner had approximately 8 minutes before critical breach, and he was working alone in conditions that should have been instantly lethal. But he wasn't alone. Not really. Hulk was there, his gamma-irradiated biology serving as living radiation shielding. Banner's consciousness provided technical expertise while Hulk's body kept him alive long enough to apply it. Containment field generators, Banner identified, moving to the damaged systems with enhanced speed. Hulk, I need you to increase density in my hands, just the hands. I need to physically manipulate components that are structurally compromised. If I touch them with normal human strength, they'll crumble. But with too much force, they'll shatter. How much strong? Hulk asked, genuinely uncertain. Hulk not good at, little bit strong. That's what we're learning, Banner replied, consciously allowing his hands to transform further, green skin thickening, fingers enlarging, strength increasing by precisely calibrated degrees. Not all or nothing anymore. We can find middle grounds. Gradations of power. His partially hulkied hands gripped the damaged generator, applying exactly enough force to bend the warped casing back into alignment without crushing the delicate components inside. It was microsurgery performed with the strength to bend steel, impossible for Banner alone, impossible for Hulk alone, possible only through their integration. Containment field stabilizing, Banner reported through the comm system, his voice carrying both his educated tone and Hulk's distinctive rumble. Reactor temperature dropping. Crisis averted in 30 seconds if these repairs hold. On the Resolute's bridge, Admiral Yoren watched the sensor readings with professional appreciation. The man is performing emergency nuclear engineering in conditions that should be killing him. I've seen Jedi accomplish impossible feats through the Force, but this is something else entirely. This is what Banner and Hulk can accomplish together, Yoda observed, his presence still guiding Banner through the Force despite the distance. Separate, Banner too weak to survive the environment. Separate, Hulk too simple to understand the repairs. Together, they become something neither could be alone. This, true strength is. The reactor's warning klaxons fell silent. The containment field solidified. The critical breach that would have killed everyone aboard the helicarrier was contained, not through rage or destruction, but through scientific expertise protected by gamma-enhanced durability. Banner emerged from the reactor chamber, his body reverting to fully human as Hulk's presence receded to their shared baseline. He was exhausted, radiation burned despite the protection, and his clothes, what little remained of Hulk's shredded purple pants, were now completely gone. But he was smiling. A SHIELD technician met him with a blanket and expression of absolute awe. Dr. Banner? Sir. We thought you were. I mean, the Hulk was reported lost during the Chitauri cleanup operation. Director Fury sent us on this mission 3 weeks ago when Stark detected your gamma signature punching through dimensional barriers. We've been following the breadcrumbs ever since. But seeing you like this, controlled transformation, partial manifestation, integrated consciousness, sir, what happened to you? I met a 900-year-old space wizard who taught me in my anger management issues how to get along, Banner replied, accepting the blanket. It's a long story. Where's Tony? I heard him on the comms earlier. Right here, Bruce. Iron Man, or more precisely, Tony Stark in a Mark 47 armor that looked like it had been through a war, descended through the helicarrier's damaged hull. The armor's arc reactor flickered with power fluctuations, the repulsors showed visible damage, and several plates were simply missing. But the man inside was undeniably Tony Stark, genius, billionaire, occasional pain in Banner's ass, and apparently, willing to cross dimensional barriers to stage a rescue. Tony's faceplate retracted, revealing a face streaked with soot and sporting a new scar across his left cheek. You have any idea how much work it took to track your gamma signature across dimensional boundaries? I had to invent 3 new branches of physics and convince Thor to borrow an Asgardian dimensional compass. You're buying me so many drinks when we get home. Tony, Banner's voice cracked with emotion. You actually did it. You found a way to reach me. Of course I did. You're an Avenger, Bruce. We don't leave people behind. Tony's expression grew serious. But we need to move fast. That dimensional breach isn't stable, I'm holding it open through a combination of arc reactor power and Asgardian artifacts that are burning out as we speak. We've got maybe 20 minutes before it collapses permanently. After that, you're stuck here forever. The information hit Banner like physical impact. 20 minutes. 20 minutes to gather everyone, coordinate evacuation, and abandon the Star Wars galaxy forever. 20 minutes to say goodbye to Yoda, to the Jedi who'd shown them compassion, to the clones who'd understood their shared tragedy. 20 minutes to go home. Hulk want to go home? Banner asked internally, genuinely uncertain. We've made progress here. Yoda's teachings, the integration work, the chance to be more than just a weapon. Hulk want to go home, the creature confirmed. Miss Earth. Miss Avengers. Miss being place where Hulk understands things. But also, sad to leave small green wise one. Sad to leave clone brothers who understood. Bruce, Tony pressed. I need a decision. Stay or go. Because that breach won't wait for philosophical debate. Banner's scientific mind warred with his emotional needs, both aspects of his integrated consciousness struggling with impossible choice. Return to Earth, where he'd always be hunted, always be feared, always be seen as barely controlled weapon. Or remain in this galaxy, where he'd found genuine help, real progress toward integration, and people who saw him as person rather than problem. Before he could answer, Yoda's telepathic voice touched his mind. Your choice, this must be. But understand, growth you have achieved here, lose it you will not. Balance found, permanent it is. Whether in this galaxy or your own, integrated you remain. Peace you have found travels with you. Can we really maintain this integration without your guidance? Banner asked desperately. What if we regress? What if the first crisis triggers full Hulk rage and we lose everything we've built? Then remember what learned you have, Yoda replied gently. That rage and intelligence need not oppose. That strength and wisdom can coexist. That being whole means accepting all aspects of yourself, not just the comfortable ones. These truths, universal they are. Function in any galaxy, they will. But what if? No guarantees, life offers, Yoda interrupted firmly. Choice is between known struggle in home galaxy, or unknown potential in strange one. Either path has merit. Either path has challenges. Trust yourself, you must. Trust that strong enough to maintain integration, you are. Belief in yourself, perhaps that is final lesson. Banner looked at Tony, at the damaged armor that represented technology and friendship from home. Then he looked toward where he knew the Resolute hung in space, where Yoda meditated, where clone troopers lived out their manufactured purposes with quiet dignity. Inside their shared consciousness, Hulk stirred. Banner decide. Hulk will be okay either way. But Hulk thinks Earth needs us more. Galaxy here has Jedi, has Force, has many strong people. Earth just has Avengers. And Avengers need all help they can get. Banner smiled at the simple wisdom. We're going home, Tony. But we need to say goodbye first. And I need pants. Already ahead of you. Tony produced a bundle from his armor storage, shield tactical gear, designed for Banner's human proportions but reinforced for emergency transformation. Fury included these in the rescue package. Said, and I quote, Banner better come home, because I didn't authorize a cross-dimensional retrieval mission just for shits and giggles. That sounds like Fury, Banner acknowledged, quickly dressing. Give me 5 minutes with the Jedi. They've earned proper farewell. Tony checked his armor's chronometer. You've got 4 minutes, 30 seconds. Then we're leaving with or without sentimental goodbyes. Banner and Tony took a commandeered Quinjet across the space between the helicarrier and the Resolute, the experimental shield transport struggling with vacuum operations but managing the short journey. They docked in the Republic flagship's main hangar, where Yoda, Anakin, and Obi-Wan waited. The ancient Jedi Master looked impossibly small beside Iron Man's damaged armor, yet his presence filled the hangar bay with gravitas that technology couldn't match. Going home, you are, Yoda observed without preamble. Sensed your decision, I did. Correct choice, it is. Needed there, you are. Master Yoda, Banner knelt so his eyes were level with the Jedi's. I can't thank you enough. 3 weeks ago, I was a prisoner in my own body, Hulk was a mindless rage monster, and we were destroying everything we touched. You taught us integration, balance, peace. You gave us hope when we'd forgotten what that felt like. Taught you, I did, Yoda agreed. But learned you did. Chose to change, you did. Worked for integration, you did. Credit belongs to you, not to me. Teacher only shows path. Student must walk it. What about you? Anakin asked, his curiosity evident. How will this integration hold without Yoda's guidance? The Force was helping stabilize your consciousness. Hulk and Banner answer together, their dual voice spoke, Banner's mouth forming words while Hulk's consciousness shaped them equally. We're one being now. Not fighting for control, not separate personalities, one person who can be calm or strong as needed. The Force helped us reach this state, but maintaining it is our responsibility. And if you lose control? Obi-Wan pressed. If stress triggers full transformation, then we'll work through it, Banner replied alone this time, Hulk's presence receding to let him handle the technical explanation. Integration isn't perfection. We'll still transform under extreme stress. But the difference is that now Banner and Hulk communicate, cooperate. Trust each other. Even in full Hulk form, Banner's consciousness can influence decisions. It's not perfect control, it's functional cooperation. Remarkable, Obi-Wan murmured. In 3 weeks, you've accomplished what some Jedi struggle with for decades, balancing powerful emotions with rational thought. Yeah, about that, Tony interjected, his armor's HUD counting down time. Touching reunion, philosophical breakthroughs, very heartwarming. But we have 90 seconds before that dimensional breach collapses and Banner is stuck here forever. Time to move, science bro. Banner stood, his expression showing reluctance despite his decision. There's one more thing. The clones. They understood what we were going through, being created as weapons, trying to be more than our programming. Can you tell them we're grateful? That their understanding mattered? Tell them yourself, you should, Yoda said, gesturing toward the hangar entrance where a delegation of clone troopers stood at attention. They'd come to see the creature who'd shown them that even weapons could choose their purpose. Commander Cody stepped forward, removing his helmet. Dr. Banner. Hulk. Just wanted to say, you gave us hope, sir. Seeing you fight your programming, choose cooperation over destruction, become more than what you were created for, it reminded us that we're not just numbers. Not just genetic templates. We're people, with choices, with potential beyond warfare. You always were people, Banner replied firmly. Don't let anyone, Republic, Separatist, or otherwise, convince you that manufactured origin means manufactured soul. You're as real, as valuable, as anyone born naturally. And if you ever forget that. He smiled. Remember the rage monster who learned to meditate. If Hulk can find peace, anything's possible. 30 seconds. Tony warned. The farewells were rushed, quick embraces, final words of gratitude, promises that couldn't possibly be kept across dimensional barriers. Then Banner and Tony were running for the Quinjet, the transport already firing engines for departure. As they accelerated toward the dimensional breach, toward home, toward Earth, toward familiar struggles in familiar places, Banner looked back at the Resolute one final time. Through the Force-enhanced connection that still lingered, he felt Yoda's final message. May the Force be with you, Dr. Banner. And may balance you have found sustain you always. May it sustain you too, Banner projected back. All of you. This galaxy needs heroes as much as mine does. Thank you for being that hero when we needed one most. The dimensional breach swallowed them, Shield helicarrier, Quinjet transports, Stark's Ark, and one unified consciousness that was both Bruce Banner and the Hulk, neither separate nor merged but integrated. The Star Wars galaxy receded into impossible distance, reality sealing behind them. In the observation deck where Hulk had learned meditation, where Banner had found peace, a single gamma signature remained, fading but unmistakable. A reminder that for 3 weeks, the galaxy far, far away had hosted something unprecedented, a rage monster who'd learned to be good. The dimensional breach sealed with a sound like reality sighing in relief. On the Resolute's bridge, Admiral Yoren watched the exotic energy signatures fade from his sensors, leaving only normal space where moments before an impossible rift had connected two universes. "They're gone," the sensor officer confirmed unnecessarily. "All Earth vessels have transited. The breach has collapsed. I'm reading residual exotic particles, but they're dissipating rapidly." Yoda stood at the viewport, his ancient eyes reflecting distant stars, his presence in the Force touching the space where Banner and Hulk had been. A faint impression remained, like footprints in sand being slowly erased by waves, but the consciousness he'd worked with for 3 weeks was undeniably absent. "Gone, yes," Yoda murmured. "But forgotten, never. Changed this galaxy, they did. In small ways, perhaps. But meaningful ones." Anakin joined the Jedi Master, his own thoughts troubled. "Master, that integration you helped them achieve, Banner and Hulk becoming one balanced consciousness, is that what you've been trying to teach me? About balancing my emotions with Jedi discipline?" "Different the specifics are," Yoda acknowledged. "But principle the same, yes. You struggle with attachment, with fear of loss, with anger at injustice. Believe you do that these emotions must be suppressed, eliminated, denied. But true balance, like Banner and Hulk found, comes from accepting all aspects of yourself. Acknowledging the emotions, then choosing consciously how to respond to them. The Jedi Code teaches us to avoid attachment," Anakin challenged. "To let go of everything we fear to lose. How is that different from Banner trying to suppress Hulk?" Yoda's ears drooped thoughtfully. "A question, long have I pondered this. Centuries of Jedi teaching, perhaps, rigid it has become. Dogmatic. Lost nuance, we have, in favor of absolute rules. Banner and Hulk, they reminded me. Sometimes the answer is not to eliminate the challenging aspects of ourselves, but to integrate them. To make peace with them." Obi-Wan, overhearing the conversation, stroked his beard. "You're suggesting the Jedi Code needs revision?" "That's a radical position, Master." "Old, I am," Yoda replied with a slight smile. "Entitled to radical positions, old Jedi are. But consider, for generations, we have told young Jedi, there is no emotion, there is peace. Yet emotion exists. Deny it as we might, feel it we still do. Perhaps the teaching should be acknowledge emotion, but let it not control you. As Banner learned to acknowledge Hulk without being consumed by him. The philosophical implications rippled through the assembled Jedi. The Hulk's brief presence in their galaxy had exposed fundamental questions about the nature of power, control, and balance that even the Force couldn't fully answer. On Coruscant, in the Jedi Temple's archives, Jocasta Nu updated the records with accounts of the anomalous being called Hulk. The reports from Christophilis, the confrontation on Coruscant, the integration training aboard the Resolute, all were documented in meticulous detail. But she also added a personal notation, something that wouldn't appear in official summaries but that she felt compelled to record. "We encountered a being of immeasurable physical power who initially appeared to be nothing more than a destructive force. But through patience, compassion, and wisdom, we discovered a person, two people, in fact, trapped by circumstances they did not choose and struggling to find peace. The Hulk taught us that power without control is tragedy, but control achieved through suppression is merely delayed explosion. True mastery comes from integration, accepting all aspects of oneself and finding balance between them. Perhaps this is a lesson the Jedi Order needs to learn. We have become so focused on eliminating darkness that we've forgotten darkness acknowledged and integrated is far less dangerous than darkness denied and suppressed. May future Jedi who encounter this record understand, the greatest threats often begin as the greatest pain. And sometimes, the mightiest warriors are those fighting battles within themselves. In the clone barracks, soldiers who'd witnessed Hulk's arrival, rampage, and eventual integration passed stories between themselves. The details grew with each retelling, as soldiers' tales always do, but the core remained consistent. A weapon who'd chosen to be more. A monster who'd learned to be a person. A being created without choice who'd claimed agency anyway. You think we could do that? A young clone asked his veteran sergeant. Choose our own path. Become more than just soldiers. The sergeant considered the question carefully. The green one, Hulk, he had help. That Jedi Master teaching him, his other self cooperating instead of fighting. But yeah, I think we could. We're already more than just our programming. Every time we show mercy when we could show cruelty, every time we protect civilians instead of just completing missions, every time we treat each other as brothers instead of serial numbers, we're choosing. We're being more than weapons. The Kaminoans wouldn't approve, the young clone observed. The Kaminoans aren't here, the sergeant replied with a slight smile. We are. And we're the ones who have to live with our choices. So we might as well make them count. Far across the galaxy, on a Separatist command ship, Count Dooku reviewed the reports with mixed feelings. The creature called Hulk had escaped back to his own dimension, taking with him the potential to be weaponized against the Republic. A strategic loss, certainly. But the reports also showed something else, the Jedi struggling with a problem they couldn't solve through Force abilities alone. The Republic allocating massive resources to contain a single threat. And most tellingly, the philosophical crisis the creature's presence had triggered among Jedi ranks. The seeds of doubt have been planted, Dooku murmured to himself. The Jedi question their teachings. The clones recognize their agency. The Republic displays its weakness in handling unprecedented threats. Even in failure, the operation yields results. His master, Darth Sidious, operating in shadows as Supreme Chancellor Palpatine, would appreciate the nuance. Wars were won not just through military victories but through eroding enemy confidence, exposing philosophical weaknesses, and creating doubt where certainty once stood. The Hulk had done all of that simply by existing. A pity he's gone, Dooku reflected. But perhaps his absence will serve our purposes as effectively as his presence. The Jedi will remember their inadequacy. The Republic will remember its vulnerability. And when the time comes for the final stroke, they'll hesitate, remembering the monster they couldn't defeat. On Earth, the dimensional travelers emerged from the breach into familiar space above New York City. The Avengers Tower's long-range sensors detected them immediately, and within minutes, Quinjet escorts were guiding the damaged vessels toward landing pads. Bruce Banner stood in the SHIELD helicarrier's observation window, watching Earth grow larger, the blue marble that represented home, context, everything familiar. Inside their shared consciousness, Hulk's presence stirred with mixed emotions. Home, Hulk rumbled internally. But also, place where people hunt us. Where military wants to capture. Where we're always running. Yeah, Banner acknowledged. Earth isn't perfect. We'll still face persecution, fear, maybe violence. But it's our imperfection. Our fight. And now we have tools we didn't have before, integration, balance, the understanding that we don't have to be at war with ourselves even if the world is at war with us. Think small green wise one's teachings will work here. Only one way to find out. The helicarrier touched down at the secure SHIELD facility in upstate New York, the location classified and heavily fortified. Director Nick Fury was waiting on the landing pad, his single eye assessing the damage to his vessels with professional displeasure. Dr. Banner, Fury greeted as Bruce descended the ramp, now wearing proper SHIELD-issued clothing. Welcome home. You've been gone 3 weeks, crossed dimensional barriers, apparently fought an entire galaxy's worth of robots, and from initial reports, achieved a stable integration with your condition. That about sum it up. Close enough, Banner confirmed. Director, I need to ask, what's my status with SHIELD? Am I still classified as a threat? Will there be containment protocols, observation teams, restrictions on my freedom? Fury was silent for 3 seconds, a long time for a man who usually made decisions in microseconds. That depends. Can you guarantee you won't Hulk out and level a city? No, Banner replied honestly. Stress can still trigger transformation. Threats can still activate Hulk. But, he took a breath, feeling Hulk's presence supporting rather than opposing him. Hulk and I aren't enemies anymore. We're partners. If I transform, it'll be a conscious decision or an emergency response, not a loss of control. We've learned to cooperate. Prove it, Fury challenged. Right here, right now. Show me this integration actually works. Banner looked at the assembled SHIELD personnel, the armed guards, the containment equipment obviously positioned around the landing pad just in case. Every instinct from his pre-integration state screamed that this was a trap, a setup, an excuse to imprison him if he transformed. But Yoda's teachings echoed in his mind, trust yourself, you must. Okay, Banner agreed. But I'm not going to full Hulk. I'm going to show you partial transformation. What Hulk and I can do when we're working together instead of fighting for dominance. He closed his eyes, reached into the shared consciousness where he and Hulk coexisted, and made a request rather than issuing a command. Hulk, can you manifest partially? Just enough to show them we're in control together. Hulk can do that, the creature agreed. For Banner. For showing we're not monster anymore. The transformation was subtle, nothing like the violent explosion of rage that usually accompanied Hulk's emergence. Banner's skin took on a green tint. His muscles enhanced noticeably but didn't balloon to monstrous proportions. His eyes remained brown instead of turning pure gamma green, maintaining Banner's intelligence and personality while accessing Hulk's strength. He walked over to a cargo container marked 10 tons, gripped its edge with one hand, and lifted it overhead with obvious ease but perfect control. Then he gently set it down, his movements precise and measured. This is integration, Banner explained, his voice carrying Hulk's rumble underneath his educated tone. Not suppression, not explosion. Cooperation. I can access Hulk's strength without losing my mind. Hulk can experience the world without being consumed by rage. We're one person with multiple aspects, not two beings fighting for control. Fury studied Banner with his single eye, reading body language and assessing threat levels with the expertise that made him director of SHIELD. Finally, he nodded. Acceptable. You're cleared for active duty with the Avengers, no containment protocols. But Banner, you slip, you lose control, you hurt civilians, I will deploy every resource SHIELD possesses to bring you in. Clear. Crystal, Banner confirmed, releasing the partial transformation and returning to fully human appearance. But I won't slip. That's the whole point of integration. We're past the point where Hulk is an uncontrollable accident waiting to happen. As Banner walked toward the Avengers Tower where his teammates were waiting, Tony would want to analyze every bit of data from the dimensional transit, Steve would want to debrief the mission, Natasha would assess his psychological state, he felt Hulk's presence settle into comfortable coexistence. We're really home, Hulk observed. Back where we started. But different now. Very different, Banner agreed. We're whole. Maybe not perfect, maybe still works in progress, but whole. And that's more than I ever thought possible. As Banner walked toward the Avengers Tower where his teammates were waiting, Tony would want to analyze every bit of data from the dimensional transit, Steve would want to debrief the mission, Natasha would assess his psychological state, he felt Hulk's presence settle into comfortable coexistence. We're really home, Hulk observed. Back where we started. But different now. Very different, Banner agreed. We're whole. Maybe not perfect, maybe still works in progress, but whole. And that's more than I ever thought possible. Small green wise one was right, Hulk reflected. Balance better than fighting. Being one person with many parts better than being two people in one body. Hulk glad we learned. Me too, buddy. Me too. In the Star Wars galaxy, life continued. The Clone Wars raged across 1,000 systems. The Jedi struggled with philosophical questions a rage monster had exposed. Clones chose daily whether to be weapons or people. And in the Force itself, a faint echo remained, the memory of a being who'd existed outside the Force's influence yet had somehow touched it anyway. Master Yoda would meditate on that contradiction for the rest of his days, finding in it a deeper truth about the nature of power, balance, and the many paths to peace. Dr. Bruce Banner and the Hulk had invaded the Star Wars galaxy for 3 weeks. They destroyed property, challenged assumptions, and forced an ancient Jedi order to reconsider fundamental teachings. But more importantly, they'd learned that even the most divided souls could find integration. That rage and wisdom weren't opposites but complements. That being whole meant accepting all aspects of yourself, even the monstrous ones, and choosing consciously how to manifest them. It was a lesson that would echo across 2 galaxies, in the hearts of Jedi and Avengers, clones and scientists, anyone who'd ever felt divided against themselves. The Hulk had come to the Star Wars galaxy as a weapon. He'd left as a person. And that transformation, more than any amount of destruction or displays of strength, was his greatest victory. May the Force be with you. Click the subscribe button for more interesting stories.